Good morning, pop culture. We are live. It is Wednesday, July 17th. It's 2 after 10, and it's time to start your favorite morning show. It's also time to get more lights, I guess. Like, how am I so dark? The light is right here, and there's another light right here. Come on, camera, get adjusted. I guess that's what happens when you buy crappy cameras. I guess I should buy a Canon. I don't know. But anyway, folks, welcome into Good Morning Pop Culture. I apologize for the technical gaffe, but I've been up making videos this morning, so let's start this show the proper way. Terry, I'm glad that you're happy to have me back. Folks on Monday definitely made me happy, or made me feel like they were happy to have me back, and, well, I'm glad to be here. So, folks, welcome in everybody that's here. Let's say hi to you like Death the Goat. Terry, we have Vestige VA 199. Hello to Breadman Productions, Garth Vader, Dr. Coffin Nails, Clone Geek, and a whole lot more. People are rolling in all the time. Good morning, Jason Evangelista. Hello, Rage and Rhino. We need to talk and stream together, my man. Hello to Dirty D Senpai and a whole lot more. There we go. People are rolling in. Sorry to keep turning around, folks. This is lit like I normally light the room, but, you know, it wasn't showing up. There we go. I'm kind of lit now. Well, not that kind of lit. It's only 10 a.m. here, and, well, it ain't college anymore. I'm not down to party, at least not by myself. That's kind of sad. But I have coffee, I have Liquid Death, and I have all kinds of stuff to talk about this morning. Now, folks, I want to get this out of the way. I'm not turning WCBS into a political channel at all. Now, the stuff we're going to talk about today is about actors in our sphere, in their actions. We always talk about actor controversies. Is Alec Baldwin's situation political? No, it's an actor that we're talking about. So today we're going to talk about Jack Black, Kyle Gass, Mark Hamill, and a whole lot more. But Breadman Productions, I'm glad you're here this morning. Glad you're safe from all of that. So, John Thomas, hello to you too. Hello to Archimedes. We got Release the McCracken. We got a lot of people rolling in this morning. Folks, I know you're working and lurking. You're listening on your way into work if you're on the West Coast. And if you're in other parts of the world, it might be 4 p.m. where you are. But like they say, it's always 5 o'clock somewhere. So maybe Good Morning Pop Culture is, hey, good evening, pop culture. We'll have to talk about that. You should have a gin and tonic and enjoy the show. WCBS is best enjoyed with a beverage, be it water, coffee, an adult beverage. It's always a good time. What up, James Unchained? How you doing this morning? So, folks, welcome in. We're going to start in a few moments. We're just going to let people kind of roll in and get things going. Sweden. All right. I have not been to Sweden before, but I'd like to go. Hello, Wander. How you doing? Hello, everybody. Cool. This is awesome. So, folks, Monday was a great show. We had a lot of fun. Today, we're going to have a lot more fun. And Friday, we'll have the Workin' and Lurkin' Good Morning Pop Culture mug on the Shop WCBS website, so you guys can go ahead and join me. And I'll get myself a couple of those mugs as well, and we'll sit here and keep on drinking some coffee together. I could go for a Bailey's. This is Bailey's Irish Cream branded coffee. There's no Bailey's in it, but maybe on Saturday morning during the show, see, folks, I guess I haven't made this announcement big enough, but I need Woke Busters to cross its goal. So I'm going to do a telethon on Saturday, starting at 11 a.m. my time, going until whenever. We're just going to have a fun show. We're going to talk about the book. We're going to talk about anything you guys want. And we're going to have that as a Super Saturday. So join me on Super Saturday as we talk about everything that happened in this week, everything you want to talk about, and some of the anime I might be watching these days. Stuff is getting crazy around here. I know, right? Mark Key says, morning, Jeff. Stealing Solo is great. Mark Hamill is dead to me. Well, thank you for reading Stealing Solo. Folks, there are a limited amount of books available. That's not a sales tactic. There's just 5 boxes left and like 30-something Phantom Menace editions. That's a 4-pack. But Mark Hamill has said some really annoying things publicly. And so now is the time for Stealing Solo 2. This is a book that I have already been working on behind the scenes. The outline is done. The dialogue is kind of worked out. And I'm not going to do anything or make anything public to sign up or anything until the book is done. There will be no kind of anything until this book is all drawn. I'm already working on the cover. I want to tell you guys, but I want to show you more. But if you hated The Last Jedi, you're going to love Stealing Solo 2, which I don't even have the title down for it. But I do have the third book, Frankenfisher, lined up. Frankenfisher, The Bride of Solo. where they literally dig up Carrie Fisher. But they is not the four guys from Stealing Solo 1. Mark Hamill's a nut bar in my book, all right? He's more like the Joker than he is Mark Hamill, and the book is very, very funny. So if you want to lampoon Mark Hamill and all of his craziness, just be on the lookout for Stealing Solo 2. Things are slow around YouTube here, so I might have even more time to work on this book than you think. So let's just keep on laughing together, shall we? So let's see. Garth Vader is all in for Stealing Solo 2. You're going to have a lot of fun with it, folks. You know, I can always promise you that you'll laugh reading my books because I'm pretty good at writing comedy. You guys like the show. Some of the stuff that you think is organic is more written than you realize here on the channel. Now, of course, the Tower of Tico was organic, but a lot of the videos that you like, all me. Good morning to Elizabeth Young, and good morning to everybody out there. Frankenfisher goes on a rampage looking for cocaine. Might or might not be in the story. You gotta remember, folks, I do respect Carrie Fisher, but I'm also writing a story that she would find hilarious. See, that's the test. That's the litmus test for that book. Oh, that's offensive. What is her daughter going to say? I respectfully don't care what her daughter would say. I want to know what she would say. And with the sense of humor that lady had, she'd find this hilarious. So may you rest in peace, Carrie Fisher. We share a birthday, October 21st. We also share it with Kim Kardashian, but we share it with Glenn Powell as well. So there we go. Which Stealing Solo sequel has Kendo getting laid? Well, maybe the third one. Guys, I can't wait to bring you that book. Like I said, it begins where the last one ends, except the world mourns for Harrison Ford and his popularity rises. And so Mark Hamill, desperate for that fame that Harrison Ford has, realizes what happened, and he holds us hostage to do the same thing with him to help him become more popular. But this time the guys realize what a nutbar he is, and we're basically fearing for our lives. So if you want to laugh at the expense of some pretentious actors and laugh at how bad The Last Jedi is, I know The Last Jedi is a little old, but this really isn't about bitching about The Last Jedi. It's kind of just making fun of everything in entertainment. So, Negasonic Middle-Aged Dickhead. That's a great name. You win the Name of the Day award. That's it. That you win that. So, folks, we normally started back in the day with Good Morning Pop Culture. We need 200 people watching until we can start the morning show. Things are a little slow on YouTube. Thanks, algorithm. So we're going to start in just a moment. But we're almost to that number anyway. Oh, so guys, I'll tell you this before we jump into our topics. We did the Acolyte review last night, and it was terrible. The video was fun to make. I love Script. I love Andrew. Those guys are great. They're two of my favorite people to stream with in the history of this channel. But even the three of us couldn't make that show palatable. It really is that bad. And I've been up early. I already have the video written. After this stream goes off the air, I will go finish that video and upload that video. Also, too, tonight, folks, I'm going out, not to hang out and party, sadly. I'm going out to an early screening of Twisters 4DX or RPX. That's what we have here at our giant Regal about 30 miles away. So, folks, join me tomorrow morning. I will have a video review of Twister. I might do it on camera like this. I'll get the jacket out. But I have to go see that movie for you guys because I want to make sure we expand all of our coverage. I think a lot of people think we're a Star Wars channel. We do have a lot of Star Wars love, but we're the epitome of pop culture, and I can cover it all. Our Marvel videos are what really have the most views. Johnny, I would love to make it down to your neck of the woods for a con. This year is pretty much, I know we're only in July, and we're the halfway mark of July. This year is pretty much booked up for me in terms of cons, appearances, obligations. You got to remember, folks, I'm just one guy. And so with Wokebusters taking as long as it did, and yes, it did take me that long because of shit out west and other stuff, but I came home last year and I said, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get ahead of this, and I'm going to move forward. And guess what? I did. Over the course from May till early January this year, I did a lot of pages of comics. And you've seen those pages. I didn't cut corners. I didn't skimp out. I just stayed up and did the pages. And so that's done. Now we're in the phase of getting this book out and kind of moving on to the next thing because, you know, we have obligations and we have to meet those obligations for all the people out there because that's how we operate here at WCBS. So I just want to tell you, 2024 is kind of a busy year. If there's a great opportunity, I'm going to take it. I can balance certain things, juggle certain things. But I'll tell you this year, folks, is kind of me finishing everything with Woke Busters, making sure we're moving forward as a comic brand, and then the channel itself, because I don't want to keep people waiting anymore. Commander Pluto, shout out to you. I'm really sorry to hear about your loss. One of the things that, family's very important. And I lost my dad at the age of 6 weeks old. So I know some people are like, I'm so sorry for that. I appreciate the sympathy. But it's something, if you don't know somebody, you can't really miss them that much. But my mom and I are tight. And last October, my mom had a health scare, and that kind of was pushing me to do this Christmas 93 book. But yeah, I'm really, I feel for you, man. My mom and I are like this. She's a great lady. And when something happens to her, I'll be lost. So Commander Pluto, shout out to you, my friend. We're all here as a group of people that love entertainment, but we're also a group of people who care and respect for each other. So folks, send some love to Commander Pluto this morning. You got it from WCBS here, my friend. And if there's anything we can do to help, let us know. Morning to our friend Wrestling with Horror as well. He will be on the show tomorrow night. This is our replacement Kendo. So shout out, folks. If you like wrestling, if you like horror, obviously you like WCBS, but you should check out Wrestling with Horror as well. The host over there, I don't know how you introduce yourself, man, so I don't want to blow up your spot. But the host over there is a good friend of the channel and a good dude overall. He's a lot of fun. I won't be going to LA Comics this year. The San Diego Comic-Con, what is it, next weekend? And yeah, I can't make that. I got to take care of stuff. I got to ship out books. I got to do other stuff like that. J Hando4, I don't know why, I don't know why Mark Hamill's still a thing, but there he is. So let's get going talking about this morning's topics. Now, let me pull this article up right here. I'll get a graphic for you guys. Like I said, folks, our channel is not a politics channel. We are a pop culture channel. We're an entertainment channel. But when celebrities do silly things or say things that piss people off, we're going to cover it. What are we oblivious to? You think we should talk about Super Mario 2 instead of all this? No. Now, I'm not going to get on a high horse and talk about how I'm offended or this and that. It is what it is. You guys know who I am as a person, how I feel about things. I really don't think you should wish death on anybody, even if it is terrible, terrible entertainment. So let's talk about this before we move into other topics. And folks, good morning, pop culture. We can talk about pretty much anything you guys want. So just, send in the messages, talk to me. Let's make shit happen. So guys, Jack Black is on screen right here in front of you. Now, I have been a Jack Black fan for quite some time. Outside of his appearance on The Acolyte, most times I see Jack Black, I go, all right, Jack Black. Kung Fu Panda was okay. Loved him in Super Mario Brothers. I loved the Tenacious D movies, their albums. When Jack Black would appear in movies back in the day. And I mean like in cameo roles before he was a big star. I love movies like Saving Silverman. I love movies like, not Stealing Harvard. That's another funny one. Orange County. There we go. I fucking love Orange County. When I was a kid, I really, really liked that movie. I was a grade schooler who was focused on going to college very early. And I was like, ooh, Stanford, maybe. Had really good grades. Had a meeting with Yale, but my guidance counselor was like, I didn't believe in you. Found out I could have sued him years later. Should have, but we wouldn't have this channel if I would have went off to Yale. Dr. Jeff Hicks. I wouldn't have been a doctor. I'd have been a fucking lawyer. I've been the best. I've been the modern day Perry Mason. I would have even had them play that song as I walk into the courtroom like Uncle Phil. Anyway, I'm distracting. So here we go. Jack Black is speaking out against his bandmates' controversial comments about the assassination attempt of former President Donald Trump. In a statement provided to USA Today, the School of Rock actor, I forgot about that one, said he was blindsided by Kyle Gass and he was blindsided by Kyle Gass's statement of "Don't miss Trump" next time on the stage during their Tenacious D show on Sunday. Black also said he's ending the Tenacious D tour and pausing his plans to continue working with Gass. He goes on to say, I would never condone hate speech or encourage political violence in any form. After much reflection, I no longer feel it is appropriate to continue the Tenacious D tour, and all future creative plans are on hold. I am grateful to the fans for their support and understanding. Kyle Gass, his bandmate, has been, in more trouble. He apologized for the remark and made it clear that it was not planned. He improvised, he said, on stage, and it was highly inappropriate. It was dangerous and a terrible mistake, he said. I don't condone violence of any kind, any form, against anyone. What happened was a tragedy, and I'm incredibly sorry for the severe lack of judgment. So he was let go by his talent agency, Green Talent, due to the comment. And Michael Green, his agent, confirmed that to USA Today. Now, Tenacious D was set to perform continuously the rest of the month with tour stops in Australia and New Zealand, and they had announced a series of Rock the Vote shows in the fall to benefit a nonpartisan organization group, Rock the Vote, ahead of the election. So you guys have heard this story. You know the tale. I don't really need to recap everything that went on. But I do have a couple of questions for you. Now, let's look at these questions, shall we? So I want to know your opinion on this whole situation. You can tell me that in the chat. But here's my take of this as a whole. Anytime a celebrity goes in to spout off politics, I just stop listening. I don't want to see a celebrity endorse a politician ever. I don't care what they believe in. Because here's the thing. I live by the adage, with great power comes great responsibility. When you are an actor, when you are a celebrity with that kind of pull, Jack Black is a household name. Let's stop acting like he's a nobody. He really is a big deal. He's been around for 30 years as well. Biodome is almost 30 years old, and Tenacious D popped up in that movie. He's been in tons and tons of films. He's a household name. He's in children's films. He's in video games. Hell, that Rock video game he was in was actually pretty good, Brutal Legend. But the reason I say great power and great responsibility is when you have that kind of a pull, you can convince people to do things just because you're famous. You know, famous people can get anyone to sleep with them because they're famous, no matter how hideous they are. So you don't think that the influence that they have can get you to vote or dictate how you think? It is possible. You know, I've made sure that I go the extra step. Like, I'm a big fan of The Rock, but I try to never follow anything he says publicly or politically. Like, when I was a kid, he would show up at both national conventions. He was at the RNC and the DNC as The Rock, telling people to smack down your vote, go vote, go vote. That, I guess, was a little different since he popped up in both places to say go vote. Nowadays, you know, things are different. I think he even endorsed a president and regrets it. And that's the thing. Once a celebrity dips their toe into the political ring, once anybody dips their toe into the political ring, you really can't step out because you're always associated with that. And while it's easy to get the views and the clicks talking about politics or views, it would be smarter to not put that out there, because you got to remember, like Michael Jordan says, Republicans buy Nikes too. And it doesn't matter what you believe in. If you're a customer of a company, the company owes you respect. Same thing with a celebrity. If you're a fan of them, I won't say they owe you the same respect as a company, but they also don't have the right to shit on the other half of the audience because they don't believe in what the celebrity believes in. That's where I take my big issue. So other than that, you know, what up, Ariana? Welcome in. Excuse me for that, folks. Just need more coffee. But that's my take on the whole celebrity thing. I don't even care if they believe if they see eye to eye with me in their beliefs. I don't want to hear that. I don't think they occupy that space. You know, tell me about art. Tell me about obscure things you like. Tell me about your life. You know, I don't hear some of these people, like, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I don't really hear Pierce Brosnan out there telling me what to do. He just kind of comes off as this cool guy who's, you know, Pierce Brosnan. Love that. So this is kind of a big dumpster fire. I'm hearing, let's see, Michael says the only reason they canceled the tour was because the venues canceled the shows. Insurance agencies refused to insure venues for Tenacious D. No insurance, no concert. Yeah, I did not know that. I do know that if there's no insurance, a lot of these things just don't happen. That's why Robert Downey Jr. made it, because Mel Gibson basically backed his insurance. And that's something I love. I love a good comeback story. You've heard me talk about that. I'll save it for another day. But while we're on the topic of Jack Black, I do want to ask the hard question is, are we too sensitive about this? Was it a joke too far, or was everything legitimate? I think it was a very bad joke in bad taste at the wrong time. You're what, a few hours removed from what went down on Saturday, and people are sensitive about it. And, you know, rightly so. It's not something to make light of. Now, of course, you can make humorous remarks about things after time has passed. I think Family Guy has a joke about that as well. And we need to keep that in mind. But I also think these people need to keep in mind, too, like, when the wound is fresh, don't put salt on it. Don't try to be funny, but just remember there's going to be consequences. And that's really the gist of it all. So Jack Black has been very public about his views. They talked about the Rock the Vote concerts he was going to have. He was with the president not that long ago talking about we need to save democracy and all this stuff. We all know Jack Black's real views, so we can't backtrack it. And it's, you know, it's too late to really make this go away completely. But it is going to stick with him for a while. I know he's trying to do these things for one, for insurance, two, to make, save face. But at the end of the day, people will kind of always remember this one. But, I don't justify any of this stuff. I feel it's weird though, because it's like he has to make these sacrifices because of what Kyle Gass said. And it's interesting how press is Jack Black's bandmate, Jack Black's bandmate. Kyle Gass isn't that popular. They can't even name him in these articles because he's not, well, they'll name him in the articles, but they don't put him in the headlines. If you're like Kyle Gass wishes death on so-and-so, it's not going to get the views. But Jack Black, on the other hand, is going to get the views, is going to get the clicks, and here we are talking about it. Now, I wanted to ask you guys about this as well. I've seen a lot of people compare this situation to the Gina Carano stuff. They have said, well, Gina Carano got canceled. Jack Black deserves to get canceled. I want to know what your thoughts are on that statement right there. I don't think what happened to Gina Carano was right at all. I've made that known on the channel years ago. We have had videos, streams, all of that stuff. You know our point of view on that. Plus, on top of that, it was sad to see her go from Star Wars because she was an awesome character. Disney finally made a good female character, and it is they ruined her. Oh, it was South Park, not Family Guy. Sorry. When it comes to my late night cartoons for adults, I'm a King of the Hill guy. King of the Hill is my absolute favorite. Everything else is either good or okay. South Park is good. Family Guy is okay. Simpsons was great, but not anymore. So I apologize for that mistake. Let's see, people in the chat saying celebrities and actors are overpaid jesters. They should entertain us and keep the shit to themselves. Don't disagree. They make so much money from it. It's exactly how I feel. I can understand someone changing his mind after a while, but backtracking is a different thing. Agreed, Leighton Swallow. So it looks like a lot of you guys just want people, these actors, these celebrities, to keep their mouths shut. We talk about the culture war, about the us versus them in a lot of these videos and a lot of these streams, and you guys are correct about that. And it's not really a left versus right dichotomy as much as it is a have and have nots mentality. You have rich celebrities. They all kind of think the same way. I've talked to people who have interacted in Hollywood, and they say a lot of this is forced. They feel like they have to talk about this stuff a certain way because they're afraid if they don't, they won't get jobs. They won't get any of these things. And so I understand that, but I also understand normal people's concerns and complaints. I feel like I'm in the middle of all this. Well, I'm really not in the middle, but I'm on the normal people's side. We have a YouTube channel, but I don't use this for political gain. Sorry. WCBS can't endorse anybody because WCBS's beliefs are very different. We can support me for president. There we go, folks. If you're dissatisfied in 2028, vote for Jeff. Just put Jeff on there. Don't say Hicks. Don't say WCBS. Just Jeff. So, got a lot of people talking about the Gina Carano stuff. People say she violated her contract and lied about what happened. And she played victim. Who are the snowflakes again? We have people saying that you have your opinions, but some are common sense. This is unrelated, but yeah, Bob's Burgers is highly overrated. Michael says, dumbass comment, but I don't believe in cancellation. Let the market dictate what happens to them. I don't have to listen or support them. Very fair point, Michael. Very fair point at all. As well, excuse me. I don't like canceling. Jack Black will be back. He's not canceled. He's just taking steps to protect himself and stop the bleeding. Kyle Gass was never a household name. It was never going to be bigger than Tenacious D. It's like Wayne and Garth. You know how Garth says, and with him as always is Garth. That's kind of like Kyle Gass. And with him, he's with Jack Black. He's the Morris Day. He's the Jerome to Morris Day. He's the Chewbacca to Han Solo. He's number 2 to Dr. Evil. Who does number 2 work for? Jack Black. I appreciate that, Suka. Jeff for president, but don't get shot. I'll get a Pope Mobile. We all know what the Pope Mobile is. I don't need to explain it to you, but we'll get one of those and we'll drive around and wave to everybody. Here's my slogan. A vote for Jeff is a vote for Jeff. Yes, it is. And vote for Jeff. Georgian, thank you very much for the first super chat of the evening. Lefties weaponize cancel culture. They laid the groundwork. They don't like the fact that the right are now weaponizing cancel culture in retaliation. I don't disagree, and you're not wrong right there, Sajorjan. It is the shoe is on the other foot. For years on this channel, we've been talking about when will the pendulum shift back? When? When will we get the other side of the coin? Well, now the pendulum has shifted back, and those people don't like the world they created. They go in there. It's like Karen. We'll just call it Karen. Karen goes into the restaurant. She makes a scene. She doesn't like all this stuff, and she bitches. So they change the policies of the restaurant to appeal to Karen. Then she comes back, and she gets treated the way she wanted, and she doesn't like it. I'm sorry, Karen. So I'm sorry that somebody shit in your cereal. I'm so sorry that you're so angry. You get what you fucking deserve sometimes. It's the world these people have built. Now they have to live in it. I don't think cancellation's good. I don't think any of these things are good. You should live and die by your own hand, but I don't think your own hand is what the cancel culture is. Because you said something stupid, you said something offensive. It's all in bad taste, but it is what it is, and I don't think anybody is very happy about it. Dr. Coffin Nails, I don't know exactly. I was just reading the comment. So if you guys want to tell me, let me know. Marquise, thank you very much for the Stealing Solo compliment. I appreciate it. Suka says, the Jeffmobile is something I would love to see. Well, I don't have a Jeffmobile, but the Wokebusters have a bitchin' tricked out beer truck that they drive around in. And there's a car chase in the story as well. So if you want to see a car that I designed somewhat, check it out. It's a fun story. It's a fun book, and it's a fun car. Now, if I was going to do like my own real life version of like a Jeffmobile, that Mercedes SUV thing's pretty cool. One that looks like the Jeep. Maybe we turn that into like, I don't know, make it look like a vehicle out of a video game, like a twisted metal car, like 250 cows on the side. We got the dome on the top where I'm sitting there and waving to everybody. Those curb feelers that they put on the lowriders? We have laser ones of those. So if you get too close, zoom, it's like in Resident Evil, just the laser grid comes out and slices you apart. Basically, my Jeffmobile would be zombie proof. So when the world falls apart, like in Dawn of the Dead, instead of a school bus and tanks of propane that I use to fight off the villains, I'll just have my laser grid mobile as Dion of the Secret Service drives me around. That sounds like a good plan right there. See, this is what I love about Good Morning Pop Culture. We create shit for the channel canon and have a good time doing it. Raging Rhino, I'll check out your DMs in a little bit, my man. Let's see. Here we keep going on. Common people have... Ritasaurus, Marvel Comics has gone down. Oh my god, we'll do a whole stream about all of this stuff. Oh, Raging Rhino says it's a comment about Jack Black and Mark Hamill from Gina Carano. Let me check that out real quick. Folks, that's why I need to get a producer up on this show. There you go, Raging Rhino. So, let's see. So she responds to Mark Hamill. We'll read that one in a minute when we get to the Mark Hamill stuff. But she had said, would Lucasfilm or Disney like to comment on one of their actors on The Mandalorian promoting and at very least not backing down and claiming the actual abhorrent rhetoric on stage about joking about the assassination or is it calling, and it just says ... What is the whole thing? Oh, yeah. Or is calling for a peaceful between neighbors like I did the only values you at Disney Lucasfilm find abhorrent, like making dangerous statements towards female cast members to broadcast out to Hollywood press in the world. Not this one, though, right? Or last week's Mark Ruffalo comment, or all the ones we have documented before. Yeah, Mark Ruffalo. Ugh, not a Mark Ruffalo fan. We are the anti-Mark Ruffalo channel. We even have a button for him. Where is the Mark Ruffalo button? Is it in this one? No, it's in the other one. We'll play it later. I just love to troll Mark Ruffalo. Okay, I'm looking for the button now. I just want to press it. Here we go.
Yeah, Mark Ruffalo.
That's how I feel. Why are we listening to this mofo? Why does he think he's relevant? He walks around dressed like a dirty painter. Like, great, Mark Ruffalo. I am not as rich as you yet, but God damn it, wear a shirt that is clean, dude. It is not that hard. It's early in the morning here. I still got up, still got ready for this shit. What's your excuse, Mr. Millionaire? Oh, the Hulk is tired. The Hulk doesn't have time. The Hulk doesn't have energy. Oh, shut your mouth. You suck, dude. I think it's a thing about Mark. If your name is Mark, you probably have the wrong opinions. Mark Ruffalo, Mark Hamill. I don't know what Mark Dukakis says about anything. The guy from Iron Chef. I just want him to say "I like cuisine" and do a backflip. That's all I need. Overhouse says Jack Black didn't get canceled. He got a call from Nintendo and Disney. They're not on the right. Nintendo, I wonder, here's the thing. I've been hearing people talk about the Nintendo or the Disney stuff, but I wonder about Universal, because you got to remember, Jack Black might have appeared in The Mandalorian, but he is Mr. Universal. Do you think for a minute that the Super Mario Brothers movie is a one-off? After Peaches, that song blew up the charts last year, do you think Bowser's not going to have an appearance in the next film and not have another song? And Kung Fu Panda just came out, and Jack Black is a part of all of that stuff. He is probably the most prominently featured celebrity at a Universal park, because you have the Shrek people, but look, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to do this quickly in my head, but I can't think of another actor who has major roles in two huge properties at one company like this. That's got to be a tricky situation, as well as like balancing the parents. Because if an actor does stupid crap, some parents are just not going to go back to the park. Kids are kids. You can distract them. Oh, I'm sorry, Johnny, Bowser isn't in this castle. We have to go to Disney. And then it's like, oh, the kids aren't going to care. So I think companies need to protect themselves. These are all investments. Which studio made Jumanji? That's Sony. That is a Sony picture. And does Sony actually care? No, they don't. Chris Pratt. Yeah, Chris Pratt. At Disney, he does. I just meant at Universal. But yeah, you're right. Chris Pratt is Star-Lord. He's the Lego movie. But the Lego movie is Paramount, right? It's not Disney or Universal. Oh, Chris Pratt is Garfield and Mario. And he's in Jurassic Park. So he did. I take it back. He has got the same presence at the Universal Park. Because Owen Grady, that character is represented at Disney or Universal, as well as Super Mario. So let's see what else people are saying about this topic. What about The Undertaker? His name is Mark II. I do not say anything bad about The Undertaker, because he's a dead man and he has no fucks to give. He will rise up and bury me alive. I won't be resting in peace because I got a lot of shit left to do in my life. So no, all due respect to The Undertaker. Here's the thing. Liked him enough as a kid. Got tired of him towards the end of his career because the matches weren't as great as they should have been. Not always his fault, but his podcast is awesome, and I listen to that a lot. I love Undertaker, like dropping the character and just being himself. Way funnier than you think it would be. So, folks, when you're done with this, obviously listen to the side scrollers, but when we're done as well, check that out. Undertaker's got a good show. Now, anything else people want to talk about before we jump into Mark Hamill, or Merk Hamill, as they say on some parts of the internet? Because I know a lot of people are disappointed, and rightly so, and that's why I'm going to make fun of him. Why not? Let me just pull up a picture of this guy. I think a lot of people are just disappointed because they looked up to Luke Skywalker as a kid. They think of Mark Hamill as Luke because, let's be honest, dude did not have many other roles. He has one other iconic role, and it's voice work. It's voice work. So that's the situation. I will talk about this in a minute, Birdman. I have not heard about that. But right here, folks, we have Mark Hamill. Now, Mark Hamill, this is a summary that I have found. Mark Hamill, known for his role as Luke Skywalker in Star Wars, has been criticized by various social media users for a post he made about former President Donald Trump's appearance, specifically mocking an oversized ear bandage. The criticisms range from personal attacks on Hamill's character and intelligence to broader political and ideological disagreements. Some users expressed disappointment in Hamill's behaviors, comparing it unfavorably to his iconic Star Wars character. Others defend Hamill, highlighting the importance of separating an actor's personal views from their professional work. I'm not trying to play both sides. I'm not Mac from It's Always Sunny. I understand that you need to separate the actor's views from the professional work. But on a social media platform that you also use to promote your work and your, other stuff that people know you for, you got to remember it's going to get pushed back. And we're adults here. I hope everyone as adults that is listening to this show. But, we grow up looking up to these heroes, these characters, these icons, if you will. Luke Skywalker is an icon. Luke Skywalker is the reason why millions of people hated The Last Jedi, because Luke was run through the ringer. He was put up wet. He was destroyed. His legacy was damaged and dinged. And a lot of people wanted to fight for Mark Hamill. But a lot of people, when Mark Hamill says crap like this, they go, well, Luke Skywalker isn't real. I don't care anymore. And so I think what Mark Hamill has done and is going to continue to do, the more he says shit like that. And again, everyone has their right to freedom of speech. Everyone has the right to espouse opinions. But you also have the right to push back on what these people say. And these people will eventually say something that is too extreme, too far, too much. And I think Mark Hamill is circling that flame really closely. Look, and I'm not trying to be mean because I'm not a celebrity or an actor, but you have one big role. If you might have like 25 more years of life left. If you go down this path to piss people off, no one's going to want your autograph. People aren't going to show up to cons to celebrate you. There will be people that are still excited to meet Luke. Don't get me wrong. There will still be lines, but those lines will be smaller. Less people are going to go, oh man, he's here. They're just going to go, Like me personally, outside of any of his comments over the last week, I have lost interest in just Star Wars in general. If I were to ever meet Mark Hamill, I don't even know what to say, man. Like, the Hobgoblin was cool. The Joker is great. That's about it, man. I'm just kind of turned off about a lot of this stuff. Xander Corp, we just talked about the Jack Black stuff. He essentially, he canceled his tour and denounced Kyle Gass, and Kyle Gass was then removed from his talent agency over the comments they made on Sunday in Australia over the attempted assassination of Trump. So that's what's going on. Just Joe 47. Spider-Man the Animated Series is not my favorite cartoon of the 90s, but it is a good one. Batman the Animated Series is superior in every way. And folks, I'd like to apologize. Cockknocker is truly Mark Hamill's greatest role because it's art imitating life. He sounds like a real cockknocker. Look, I ain't that pissed at Luke. Believe me. I'm gonna make Stealing Solo 2 now, and we're gonna have a lot of fun with it. This version of Mark Hamill, the parody we're gonna do, it's gonna be This Old Man. So if you're tired of This Old Man, well, you want to read my book. It'll be about 50 pages. It'll be fun. Let's see. Jeff brings up my Jack Black comment. He didn't read it. What Jack Black comment, Sir Georgian? Oh, because I read your super chat. Sorry, the chat is moving. We actually have a lot more people here today than we did on Monday. Now, that could be because I am simul streaming on the Good Morning Pop Culture channel. I haven't used it in a while. People are watching, so we're just going to keep streaming to as many different places as possible to get those numbers up. I do think it has something to do with some of the back-end stuff on YouTube. I don't want to be one of those whiny people. Oh, woe is me. I'm being taken down. Shit is going against me, but I keep fighting back, and I got you guys, so we're going to win this. Don't worry. I'm going to hit 200K, a million, 500 million. Everybody, we're called world-class bullshitters. People in India, people in Australia, people in Botswana, or wherever the hell that is. They'll know. Thank you, Jamie Jackson. YouTube wasn't notifying me. Folks in the chat, I know I ask this a lot. If YouTube is not notifying you, would you please tell me? You could either send me an email, you could comment on this like this, because the way YouTube works is you tell them there's a problem. They're going to deny there's a problem. We have to fight back with proof. And if I have a lot of people telling me that they're not getting my notifications, YouTube will have to look into it. We have too big of a channel for them to just brush it under the rug, because they do give me a person to talk to, not just an AI bot. But Jamie, thank you very much. Michael Collier says, you already read my regular chats. Good morning. Well, Michael, thank you for your super chat. I appreciate it. It helps fund the channel. It helps us keep going. We're not going to stop because of you people. DJ Deadbeat says it's an inconsistent thing. All right. Well, thank you. Ariana says YouTube wasn't notifying me either. There we go. Let me take another picture of that. Thank you. Again, folks, that helps. All you got to do is tell me what is up. I have not seen anything with Mark Hamill's final performance with Kevin Conroy. Kevin Conroy's passing, man, that was sad. Sorry, something fell. That was really sad. It was sad, but the Green Ranger's death was also really sad. And then the circumstances surrounding his death hit me harder. I was like, man, Tommy, he went out like that. And then you find out what was going on. It is that was the one childhood thing. I was like, oh man, that's the saddest. I was bummed out. I called my mom on the phone, like, man, Tommy the Green Ranger died. She's like, oh my God, what happened? And I told her, and she's like, oh no. And we both were really bummed out, like for days. It was like I called her back. I was living out west at the time. And I called her back a couple days later to talk about stuff. And she's like, I'm still so sad about Tommy. Like we knew him, like he was a friend. Because I watched the shit out of that show, man. I loved it. He's a soy demon. He very well could be. I don't know what kind of evil powers he conjures up his career with, but it's working. He probably is very jealous of Harrison Ford's career. But Harrison Ford was smart. Harrison Ford didn't wait for Star Wars to be over. We used to stream with Richard Chew. I've heard all kinds of stories. You can watch those streams. But the one thing I take away from it is Harrison Ford was very hungry to go from Star Wars to anything. He did, was it Force 10 from Navarone? He did a movie called Heroes with Henry Winkler that also came out in 1977. I think he plays a mentally handicapped brother, and Henry Winkler and Sally Field are like a couple, and they have to deal with him. He's in Apocalypse Now in 1979. Like Harrison Ford did like 4 or 5 movies between Star Wars and The Empire Strikes Back. And then after Empire, Indiana Jones. Raiders of the Lost Ark is a great movie, and he plays that role perfectly. I got to tell you, I hate Dial of Destiny, but up there, I did pick up an amazing action figure based on Raiders of the Lost Ark that was only made because the Dial of Destiny came out. And I got to say, like, I hate that movie, but the merchandise that gets made because of it makes me very happy. Let's see. My childhood hero is Batman, and one of my teen years was Conroy. Have left us. Yeah, Adam West's death was really sad because he like we said the other day, he had this great career revival, and then he died, and they cast the bat signal on Town Hall in L.A. It was sad that he passed away, but talk about a tribute. Like, what a cool tribute. You can't get a better tribute than that. And I think we've all moved past the time where being associated with Batman is no longer a bad thing. You know, Adam West had to do these conventions and wear the suit on TV and do all this embarrassing stuff. But then, it came back to him. Same thing with Michael Keaton. He hated being called Batman. Now he's at colleges giving speeches. I am Batman. Like, come on, that is cool. Everybody, once you become Batman, you're part of this club, and everybody loves Batman. Raging Rhino, I moved out to LA when Kobe died. It was weird. Like, you could feel that. It was right before COVID hit. So everything was about Kobe Bryant and his passing. You'd see these murals go up in honor of him. Almost every corner had a Kobe Bryant mural, and they were good, too. There's a lot of artists in LA. Luke didn't either. He just wasn't very good in Corvette Summer. I haven't seen that movie yet. I have not seen that at all. Layden Swallow, you should check out Apocalypse Now. It's a very good movie. I have the Blu-ray, the 4K with every version of the film. I haven't seen The Frisco Kid maybe ever. I have a book on Harrison Ford's films that I got as a kid. And see, folks, I was a nerd for reading. If it was in a book, I would sit and read it. That's why I know so much about pop culture. Not because I've watched a ton of movies. Like, yeah, I have. But I've read more books on them. I've read more websites on them. Do you think the reason I know so much about vintage Star Wars toys is because I played with them a bunch? No, I read books on them. I didn't even have access to this stuff, but I was so fascinated that there was a whole world of Star Wars toys that I never had even seen in person. Because you didn't go to vintage toy stores when you're 6 and 7 years old, but you do go to the library and you do sit and read, these collector's manuals, and you're like, oh, there's 2 different Han Solo heads. There's 2 different Luke Skywalker lightsaber lengths. Like, I just committed that all to memory. I have an amazing backlog of useless information that is not useless because it works out here on the channel. So I always said, if I could find a way to turn that knowledge into a business, I would be successful. And here we are. We're still rolling 9 years later. And things seem to just be getting started in a good way, too. Like, coming back really reinvigorated me, and it clearly reinvigorated a lot of you. And it's more fun now than it has been in a long time. That's why I'm smiling. I don't put on a happy face just to put on a happy face. I'm having a great time. Faking his death and showing up at his funeral sounds like an Adam West thing. Adam Wee, as they call him. Family Guy was funny for a while, and then it wasn't. But in terms of Mark Hamill, tell me if that changes your views on Luke Skywalker. I know a lot of people are fed up with it. And like I said, rightly so. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. That's why you really shouldn't step into this political minefield as a celebrity, as an actor. You should just kind of go, my audience is on both sides of the aisle. My audience comes to meet me. My audience buys autographs, pays for pictures. My audience goes and sees those movies. Mark Hamill isn't as marketable as he thinks. And I know he's doing it for clout. I know he's doing it for attention. But I just wish him the best as a person. Like, Mark, take your head out your ass, buddy, and stop saying stupid crap. Snoxeri, thank you very much for that compliment. I appreciate that. Like I said, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I get to do this all the time, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. If it wasn't fun, would I do it? Probably not. But I would find a way to make it fun because I like the audience. That's my favorite part of all this. Lord Rollo says Adam Wee was top shelf. He was. I've loved Luke for too long to hate him for Mark's sake. That's a good take. I keep the original Star Wars movie in its own little bubble. This perfectly formed adamantium bubble. Nothing can pierce it. That first movie is still perfect. Yeah, George Lucas put in special edition changes, and yeah, that bothers me. But it's still Star Wars. I'm sure Gina Carano could beat Jack Black and Mark Hamill in a fight, especially in her prime. Like, she was a fighter. I know people dislike her for political reasons or what she said, but she made it into the public sphere because of her abilities, her talents, her looks, all these things. Like, she was good enough to make it to Deadpool. So, people want to dunk on her for stuff she said, but she was good enough to make it. And Mark Hamill was good enough to make it. Or he was lucky enough to be in part of Star Wars because it was the biggest movie ever. Monkey Jeebus. That's sad because I've always wanted to be a voice actor. Well, always meaning like the last couple of years. I thought it would be cool to voice act. I don't really want to be an actor. It's never been my passion. It's funny. I moved to California and people are like, oh, you're going to go be an actor? Nah, I work from home. I just want to, be in a cool location and try to do cool things. Then the world shut down and it just didn't work out like that. But I digress. Oh, let's see. Anything else people want to say about Mark Hamill before we move on to our next segment? Gina needs to lose weight and have a run in WWE instead of going back to Hollywood. Based on her pictures, I think she looks pretty good. But, you got to be in ring shape. And ring shape is much different than athletic shape. Mick Foley was in ring shape, but he was a very large, hefty man. There are a lot of guys. I have friends that are independent wrestlers. And some of those guys are in terrible regular shape, but they're in great ring shape. They can jump around the ring. They can run the ropes. It is what it is. It's impressive. To be honest, his comments and behavior have diminished the value of Luke Skywalker to me. I wish it didn't. I'm trying to separate the two. But it's hard to. Like, you're not wrong that you don't have the ability to. If anybody comes in here and says, you need to do this right now, you're the problem. Yeah, it's a little... Only Siths steal in absolutes. And you know how we treat the Siths here on the channel. That is a good way to describe Luke Skywalker, a dumb yokel. But I was going to Natashi Station to pick up some power converters. You can waste time with your friends when your chores are done. Come on. I have never been in the Luke Skywalker is whiny camp. I do think he's a kid who gets pulled into a story, and then by the midpoint of the story, he's not really whiny. He tries to hold his own in the bar. Like, I'll have one of those, and this and that. He's just kind of doing his own thing. And yeah, Obi-Wan has to protect him. Obi-Wan has to save him. But I don't consider Luke whiny in the cantina. Hell, even when he's talking to Han Solo, 10,000, we could almost buy our own ship for that. Like, I like that. Okay, I do. Luke was the man. Wrestling Jeff. Has Jeff gotten on the Joe Hendry bandwagon? Dude, I was at the when I went to TNA, I did see Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry. I watched NXT last week, and he popped up on the end of the pay-per-view. I was like, yes! Joe Hendry's in my 2K24 video game. I know the theme song. How do you not like Joe Hendry? Joe Hendry is a lot of fun. My favorite wrestler currently is LA Knight. That dude is cool. I also have this weird thing. I don't get into characters or actors or people that are like much younger than me. And I know it's a weird thing, but I just like can't get into like kid wrestlers. It's kind of like my thing when I was a kid. I wanted to watch Batman, not Robin. I wanted to watch the Power Rangers, not the little blue one, Justin from later in the show. That wasn't for me. But Joe Hendry's kind of the exception. He's really good. But LA Knight is the wrestler I'm really into these days. He better beat Logan Paul at SummerSlam. I don't know, Monkey Jeebus. Maybe that does make me a Sith, but I never claimed I was a hero of the story. I just write the whole thing. Yeah, Dr. Coffin Nails, I'm not a fan of that hat, too. Yeah, he's definitely not whiny when he says, I'm Luke Skywalker, I'm here to rescue you. That shit was awesome. And it was so cool. I think in Fanboys, they pull a line like that, and it's still cool. Not anymore. Thanks, Disney. Thanks, Disney. Ooh, you have a Star Wars fan fiction that you made back in the 70s on a Super 8. If you ever find that, upload it and send it to me. I won't post it or say anything about it. I love people's passion about this, about Star Wars. I almost called it the Star Wars, excuse me. I love people's passion about Star Wars, and it's fun to see. I always wanted to track down that Raiders of the Lost Ark fan film, and I never watched it, and I missed the documentary, so I got to go back and check it out. Let's see. I love Mark Hamill like he's a member of my own family, but the way he's been acting lately breaks my heart. I don't care if he's a leftist, that doesn't bother me. The other stuff he does bother me. Hey, fair point. I get it. That's why I try to not follow Dwayne Johnson publicly, because Dwayne Johnson is this guy, this actor, this person who's normal. But I do like The Rock, and he's this like idealized version. And he's not real. Wrestling's not real. We know it's scripted, and the characters they play are extreme versions of themselves, but that doesn't stop me from liking The Rock. And it gets me to spend money. Like, here's my cup from WrestleMania. Why did I buy it? Because The Rock is on it. I got the program. Now, I do buy the program every year. That's a different story. But I get this shit because I like this character. I don't know the person. But when he talks about Hawaii or when he does these things, I intentionally ignore them because I don't want it to ruin the feelings I have towards the fictional version of The Rock. Like, when I hear if you smell what The Rock is cooking, I'm like, oh shit, it's time. Every time. I should have filmed myself at WrestleMania. I come off as a normal, reserved guy about some stuff, but holy shit, when that hits, I'm the first one raising my arms going, yeah! Like everybody that loves something. That's why I keep that separate. And so I'm doing it to protect the memories I have. When I think of The Rock, I think of my mom and I watching SmackDown. And my mom watched wrestling with, my uncles were into it. Like, let me take it back. I'm a third generation wrestling family. Even though I'm not a wrestler myself, my great grandma technically was watching Gorgeous George and I think Bobo Brazil. They would go to her house on Saturdays and she would be watching wrestling. She didn't want to be bothered. She was this old German lady who had a thick accent and couldn't speak English as well as you would think, but she loved wrestling. Then, my uncles got into it. They were watching WrestleMania 2 on pay-per-view or closed circuit. Whatever they did, they had it at the house. That my mom tells that story. Then, when she married my dad, he was a college wrestler. They watched WWF and NWA, everything back in the day. And then I got into it. And so it's this generational thing. And I have my favorites. I have my ones that I hate. And I want to keep it a certain way to keep it as a good memory in my mind. It's very important to me. Yeah, that is a perfect era of The Rock. I'll throw 2001. Like, I prefer the year 2000 Rock. It's like the prime version. But 01 is still a great time for him. He doesn't really, for me personally, The Rock never fell off. He just disappeared. And that's why I like him still, because it's like he never stuck around to be shitty. Yeah, his run when he fought John Cena wasn't that great, but John Cena's not that great. That's the thing people don't take into account. Cena is not that great. He might be a great guy. He might do wonderful things. He might be a Make-A-Wish star, and I respect that. But as a wrestler, he wasn't great, and I didn't want to hear that. Dude, The Rock is not only is he on the Mount Rushmore of the Attitude Era, he's on the Mount Rushmore of all wrestling. You got to take into account what a big impact he had in a short period of time. He was only a full-time wrestler from late 96 to early 01. He did a return in the end of 01, and he wrestled through August of 02, and then he disappeared, and he would show up sporadically for a couple months, and then he was gone for 11 years, and now he shows up sporadically. But you can't take away the impact he had. They were chasing The Rock's popularity for years. They never had a guy like that again. John Cena sold a bunch of merchandise, but that's it. Let's see. My grandpa loved wrestling. You couldn't be in the room with him. He'd grab you like they did on TV. I love that, John. My uncle Carl, who's no longer with us, was a huge Hulk Hogan fan. And he'd be like, hey, Jeffy, let's wrestle. And he's like, you got to be Coco Beware. I'm like, no, I don't want to be Coco Beware. I want to be Hulk Hogan. And it was funny, too. Christmas 92. Yeah, shit, that would have been 92. The year Batman Returns came out. My uncle used to dress up as Santa Claus. And I was what, 3-4 years old? I could see through it. I was like, is Uncle Carl Santa Claus? I thought it was like he was really Santa Claus because he was always generous. But that Christmas, he gave my cousin a big Batman Returns, and he gave me a big Hulk Hogan. And as a kid, I was so disappointed. I'm like, I want Batman. I don't like Hulk Hogan. But now I'm really glad I have it and all those memories because really it just tied us together. And when he was about to die, he's even like, go to WrestleMania. Think of me. I'm like, okay. Like he told me that on his deathbed. He's like, don't come to the funeral, go to do that. And his wife was there and they told me about that. And it was a thing. And I went and it was an awesome time. So I think of that, not a lot, but I do remember that. And it's a good feeling. And that's what people need to remember. All of entertainment brings in these good feelings. All of entertainment ties back to emotions, to your childhood. Like all this crap on my shelf isn't just a toy. It all has a story. And so Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill, all of these things, it all ties together. It all ties together. So that's why people are angry. That's kind of my thesis on it right there. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk. Yep, that's why I like The Undertaker these days. His podcast is the shit. So, folks, anything else you want to say about Mark Hamill, please send it my way. I will definitely check it out. We will talk about stuff. But let's take a little break from the angry side of entertainment and have a little fun as we end Good Morning Pop Culture. Breadman, I think of Lo Mein and Dion as well. Folks, if you don't know what that is, go back and look at the clip. Go back and listen to what we had to say about that. Oh, shit, your uncle and dad were at WrestleMania 3 in Pontiac, Michigan. If I could go back in time, that'd be one of the wrestling events I'd love to see. I would love to go back and see Backlash 2000. I would love to go back and see many events. Let's see. In fairness, Cena's matches with Punk, AJ, in his 2015 reign as U.S. champion showed that he can wrestle quite well. He was handicapped by Vince not expanding his moveset. Fair point. Fair point. That part, but remember though, Cena was not the face of wrestling at that point in his career. There were other guys like Cena from 2007 to 2011, 2012. He was LOL Cena wins is a meme for a reason. I sat through all of that. It was terrible. But I'll give him credit. Like he got better. But look though, AJ Styles and Punk. Who is he wrestling? AJ Styles and Punk. Two really good wrestlers. I met CM Punk. Biggest douche nozzle wrestler ever. And it was at a paid event. I didn't bother him on the street. I didn't go up to him at dinner. I didn't say anything dicky. I was waiting in line like everybody else. I said, hi, how you doing? Person in front of me, he was nice to. Person behind me, which was my friend, he was nice to. But for some reason, he was a dick to me. And I go, oh, okay. Well, I'll never buy your merchandise. And I never did. Summer of Punk, what did I buy? Nothing. Action figures? I hated Triple H as a kid. I got multiple Triple H's, 0 CM Punks. There was a box set coming out, folks. It's got, I think it's Cody Rhodes, LA Knight, CM Punk, and somebody else. I considered buying that box set, and then I was going to sell the CM Punk. Just one bad interaction like that, I'm done. I could meet him. We could work on a comic. We could do all these things. But I'm also not going to go, oh man, it's CM Punk. What a great guy. Like it was a one and done for me. Let's see. Thank you, John Thomas, for your super chat. He says, alternate reality where wrestling is real, unscripted, still in a ring, no kicks, but still non-Greco-Roman. Who wins the championship? Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar can beat the shit out of anybody. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it. That dude is dangerous. I mean, Jim Cornette had to pull a gun on him to calm him down. Like that, that ain't fake. Also, too, the guy who was Haku, he could mess you up. That was a story that people would tell. He was tougher than Andre the Giant. Andre the Giant might have been a big-ass dude, but he was not the toughest one. Haku was. In terms of other wrestlers that are like that, Kurt Angle was a real Olympic athlete, so he would do well. I know this is weird to say, but some of the hardcore guys, like if you're bringing weapons into it, like I don't care how tough you are, getting hit in the face with a piece of metal, that's going to hurt. That's going to stop you. Yeah, I remember when Pee Wee Herman was at Raw. I was at the WrestleMania where Pee Wee Herman was there. I loved Pee Wee Herman as a kid. We'll save that for another time, folks, but it is a part of my childhood. It goes like Pee Wee Herman, Thomas the Tank Engine, superheroes, then Power Rangers. And then once Power Rangers ran its course, I was really into Toy Story for a year, and then I found Star Wars, and here we are together. Yes, Steve Blackman is badass. Lesnar almost knocked out Braun Strowman in a ring when he messed up something. Again, I would never mess with fucking Brock Lesnar. Come on now. I'm not stupid. It's like, would you jump into a shark when you got a cut on your arm? Or jump into the water when there's sharks swimming, you got a cut on your arm? No, you would not. So don't mess with Brock Lesnar. Then again, but here's the thing. There's always a bigger guy. And Kurt Angle might not be a bigger guy, but he was more skilled. I mean, he's an Olympian. Come on now. Now, to wreck Bradshaw in a backstage fight, that's not really saying much. Bradshaw is a big pussy underneath it all. Go listen to those stories. And I love when The Miz makes it on a main event, wins the title, because it's always like a slap in the face of Bradshaw. He used to fucking raise the shit out of The Miz. But The Miz has got Maurice and millions of dollars, and he's more successful than JBL was in wrestling. Sorry, my printer just turned on by itself, and I'm like, what are we doing here? Folks, if you love wrestling, make sure you hit that thumbs up button right now and tell us what you want us to talk about here on WCBS. We definitely will have some fun with that. So George and I hung out with the Godfather. We partook. We hung out. There are pictures of it. But he told us stories that I promised to never share on air because I want to respect that. But it was really cool to be in the room. It wasn't even that it was in the room. Like, you know, some people say, like, I talked to so-and-so or I hung out with so-and-so. This wasn't like me in a room listening to him tell stories. There were like 7 of us, but he talked to me directly because I'm the biggest person in the room. And he just starts talking to me, telling me stories. It was so cool. That was one of the coolest days ever. West Nile, dude, not only do I watch wrestling, I've been to every WrestleMania since WrestleMania 22. The only one I missed was the COVID one. Like, come on, that's it. I love this shit. It may not be, we don't talk about it on YouTube because I know what the audience is interested in, but there is a wrestling shelf. I just picked up a new Rock figure last night from the Monday Night Wars collection. Good luck getting out of bed earlier than me in terms of wrestling stuff. I love it. It's just, I love it as much as sci-fi. It is not a high art like certain things. See, that's the interesting part about my tastes. They are all over. I do like high art, but I also like comic books. I like pro wrestling, but I also like really deep introspective writing. Like last year, I know some people consider it stupid, but I thought Oppenheimer was an interesting movie, but I also enjoyed other action movies that were dumb and pointless. You know, this year, my favorite movie is Beverly Hills Cop 4, but I've also watched, what we would consider higher art. I like it all. I like to have fun with all of it. Turbo Chubs, I didn't meet Papa Shango or Kama Mustafa. They weren't available, but the Godfather was pretty friendly. So, guys, let's talk about what's on screen right here, as well as anything you want. The summer movies of 1989. I love to bring this up every once in a while, especially because it's an anniversary. So 35 years ago, I was alive. I know, right? What a weird intro. But no, 35 years ago, we had one of the biggest summers in history. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the biggest films, the top 25, because, we do a top 10 when there's multiple people on the show. But here on this show, Good Morning Pop Culture, it is you and it is me, and we have tons of stuff to talk about. So let us check out some of these big films of 1989. So the summer of 89 brought things to a whole new level as the amount of sequels released between May and August hit the double digits. With this 35th anniversary of the summer of 89, we're taking a look back at the 25 biggest films of that epic time, examining where the franchises stood on the list. Stood the test of time and where they've gone since. So here, let us start. So we'll start with Batman. Now, I love this movie. Batman 89 is one of those near and dear films to my heart. Like the original Star Wars, It's this perfect little film in this little bubble to me. It doesn't need a sequel. Sorry, Batman Returns enthusiasts. It doesn't need more. I just like to watch it in its own little vacuum. And I'm such a fan. That's why I'm angry when I look at this picture from IGN, because that's from Batman Returns. The costumes aren't the same. And if you can't tell, one day we'll explain it for you. But I'm not here to dunk on you guys. I'm here to dunk on IGN for their... Come on, I get it. But I'm an artist. It really bothers me when you get shit wrong. It's like, oh man, like we're talking about Star Wars: A New Hope, but you got a picture of Luke from Empire. Like when I was a kid, I would not buy anything from Star Wars, like art-wise, if they would put like Han Solo in his original costume, but it was an Empire Strikes Back poster. That was just bad. That was wrong to me. And as a kid, I didn't understand why. And as an adult, I don't care. I only support the stuff that looks the way it should. That is my brain. Nathan, you're right. IGN is trash, but we can disagree with it or not. So Batman was released on June 23rd of 1989, and it brought in, adjusted for inflation, domestically speaking, $635 million. Back in 89, it was only 251, but it was the biggest film, in my opinion, of that year. Because, Last Crusade made more worldwide, but Batman 89 changed the way we operate. There are 5 superhero films that changed the game. Superman 78, Batman 89, Spider-Man, The Dark Knight, and The Avengers. Hear me out. Superman made you believe a man can fly and really brought it to a lot of people. Batman not only brought Batman to the big screen in this way, because there was that Adam West film in the 60s, but it gave you a darker Batman, a more realistic Batman, but it also influenced the merchandise machine for superheroes. And I do love merchandise. I don't think it's this evil, demonic thing to buy merchandise based on a movie. It's exciting. I love having my action figures. They represent the thing I like in a physical form, because you can't really be in the movie or do those things. But anyway, I digress. Spider-Man really makes Marvel movies bigger than you think. I know Blade and I know X-Men came first, but let's talk about the grand scheme of things. Spider-Man was in the Guinness Book of World Records. It was the movie to make $100 million the fastest. That's an achievement. Dark Knight was the first superhero movie to make $1 billion. Everybody changed to the formula of grim and dark, gritty reboots. And then the Avengers came out and made even more, and then everything became a shared universe. Now, good or bad, you can, have your opinion on how those things went. But, that's why they're the biggest ones. Now, the next film on this list from 1989, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. I love it. Folks in the chat, tell me if it's one of your favorites or not. The Indiana Jones trilogy, you can't go wrong with any of them. I'm a Temple of Doom guy, but I say Raiders is the best one. Now, this movie made $197 million domestically, which is about over $50 million less than Batman, and it brought in, that's adjusted for inflation, $498 million. Lucasfilm would kill to make a profit in modern day, but, The Last Crusade was the last great Indiana Jones film. Here we go, right here. Lethal Weapon 2 was released in summer of 89, on July 7th to be exact. Domestic box office, $147 million. Adjusted for inflation, $372 million. Love it, love it, love it. Lethal Weapon 2 is my favorite Lethal Weapon movie. Free Africa, you dumb son of a bitch. I love that part. One man, one vote. And Leo Getz, come on, whatever you need, Leo Getz. Joe Pesci was already cool. Well, no, I don't really know many Joe Pesci movies that like Raging Bull. But I really don't know what Joe Pesci was doing between Raging Bull and Lethal Weapon 2. But in the 90s, man, I know what Joe Pesci was doing. He was awesome. Also that summer brought us Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Wayne Zielinski, a.k.a. Rick Moranis, shrinks his kids. Kind of a simple premise, fun movie, created a franchise, a television show. I watched it. I've seen all these movies. That movie made $130 million in 1989. Adjusted for inflation, that's $330 million. Here we go. Ghostbusters 2, which is an influence on Wokebusters just a little bit. Ghostbusters 2 made $112 million, adjusted for inflation. That's $284 million. Now, I have a weird conflicting relationship with Ghostbusters 2. I think it is a good movie. I enjoy watching it, but it is such a bad follow-up to Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters is one of the greatest movies ever made. Ever made. It is funny. It has great action, great effects. It's a little bit scary. It's got it all. It's so well designed. It's well edited. It's great. The comedic performances are top notch. Ghostbusters 2 is just a follow-up. And so I enjoy what it brings to the table. I like Vigo the Carpathian enough. You know, Wokebusters, I have that painting done. The guys, Kendo loves Ghostbusters too, and I thought as a thank you for him, to him, and as a fun little way, I made the painting. So I had my lady that I use for paintings paint the book. I drew it in pencil, and we have that with us. Instead of the baby, we have the baby Stay Woke Trigglypuff Man. That villain is the baby in the painting, and that's going to be on the back cover of every book. So if you want to see that, check it out. But Ghostbusters 2 also is the River of Slime. One of the plot points of Wokebusters is the nefarious people at ICUP are trying to spread what we would call wokeness, but it's really not called wokeness in the book. But they're trying to control people. The shit that turns them into outrage monsters is something they're ingesting and they don't realize it. It's speeding up the process of what already has been out there. And we have the river of, we go down to the sewer and we find the river of, I guess woke will call it. But it is a nice parody to Ghostbusters. And remember in Ghostbusters 2, how the guys start yelling at each other in the lab, and like the toaster starts jumping up and down. I have a parody of that as well, where the guys get triggered and we try to out offend each other. Like we're all victims. Like I'm a minority. I'm this. I'm that. And it's really funny. It's just a page of all of our faces talking about how we're offended, and then we realize, oh, it's in the fucking coffee, and then we move on to fight the bad guy. So I do all the Ghostbusters stuff in this book, and Ghostbusters 2 is a part of that as well. So up next, we have Dead Poets Society. It made $95 million, adjusted for inflation. That's $242 million. That film is one of Robin Williams' most iconic roles. I had a teacher in high school who would quote that all the time. But people love this movie. Parenthood came out in summer of '89. It made $95 million, which is adjusted for inflation of $241 million. Never seen this one. I know I'm in the minority here, but I haven't seen this film. Let me know what you think of it. Also, When Harry Met Sally brought in $92 million, but that's $234 adjusted for inflation. We also have Turner and Hooch that brought in $71 million adjusted for inflation. That's $179. There's also Uncle Buck. I love Uncle Buck. This movie is great. If you haven't seen Uncle Buck, what are you doing? Go watch it. Watch Summer. I almost said Summer Rental. Go watch The Great Outdoors. I think that's Jim Candy's best movie. But that is up for interpretation. Uncle Buck grossed $66 million, which adjusted for inflation is $168 million. That's a great total for that. The Abyss made less than Uncle Buck. I'm really surprised about that. That's James Cameron, and people love James Cameron. I like James Cameron, but I don't love him. The Abyss is one of those movies that I don't really watch. Box office total of $54 million, adjusted for inflation, $137. Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, brought in $52 million, adjusted for inflation, that's $132. See No Evil, Hear No Evil, which is a great Richard Pryor, Gene Wilder comedy, brought in $46 million, adjusted for inflation, that's $118 million. The Karate Kid Part 3, domestic total, $38 million, adjusted for inflation, $98 million. James Bond was back in 1989, 3 days ago, so I guess we could have done this on Monday. License to Kill, Timothy Dalton's last film, $34 million, adjusted for inflation, $87 million. So License to Kill is interesting to me because I don't like this movie, and I never have. But a lot of people find value in it after the fact. They're like, oh, it's a misunderstood classic. My complaint with License to Kill is that it's too late. It is James Bond versus Cocaine Cowboys in 1989. James Bond should have been fighting Cocaine Cowboys in 1983, 1985, maybe even 1987. Miami Vice is the king of Cocaine Cowboy content, not Scarface. I know, Scarface is a great movie. I love it. I have it on 4K. But Miami Vice stretches it out. Scarface is iconic. Boom, it's a great movie. But I consider Miami Vice the height of Cocaine Cowboy entertainment because you get to see it on the ground floor level, and you're not following villains. James Bond being topical but out of the loop really makes this movie just feel antiquated. You go to the heights of the living daylights and then you bring it to License to Kill. Now, License to Kill was underwhelming. It was considered a disappointment. And then there's a 6-year gap. And I think a lot of people want to think, oh, what if Dalton stuck around? What would we have gotten? Well, there's the script out there. James Bond would have went to Hong Kong. And I'm grateful that it didn't work out for Timothy Dalton because Brosnan's my favorite. I consider Sean Connery the best, but I like Brosnan the best. And I love GoldenEye. And so License to Kill being what it is gets us GoldenEye. And I wouldn't trade anything for GoldenEye. So sorry, T. Dalton. Also on this list, we got Weekend at Bernie's, the same everyone's favorite film. That is the, I guess, movie embodiment of the Disney Star Wars brand. They take something dead, they dig it up, and they carry it around. Frankenfisher might be influenced by Weekend at Bernie's. Who knows? But Weekend at Bernie's made $30 million. Adjusted for inflation, that's $76 million. Roadhouse made $30 million. Brought in $75 million. Adjusted for inflation. Do the Right Thing from Spike Lee made $27 million. Adjusted for inflation, $69 million. Not really the biggest Spike Lee fan. Sorry. If you are in the chat, let me know. There's also Sex, Lies, and Videotape, which I know this movie. Made $24 million back then. That's $62 million adjusted for inflation. Nightmare on Elm Street 5. Ooh, it only brought in $22 million. Man, Freddy Krueger really shit the bed. Folks, you know I love horror. I've worked on horror movies. I've done storyboards for a horror movie. I've been in a horror movie. I've done horror prints and posters all over the country. I bet you didn't know that. I was a horror artist before the channel. And so I love this stuff. I don't look like your normal horror artist, and I don't draw like your normal horror artist. My stuff was very clean. I did a Nightmare on Elm Street poster, and it wasn't bloody, it wasn't grimy, it was very clean. I made Freddy Krueger. The burns were like different colors overlaid. It was very unique looking, but people liked it. People bought it. And Nightmare on Elm Street 5, not a good movie. Is it the worst one? No. That is the next one. Lock Up with Stallone. Never seen this one. Made $20 million. Probably why I've never seen it. Another one I haven't seen. Casualties of War with Michael J. Fox and Sean Penn. Never. God, how did I miss this one? I love Michael J. Fox. Only made $18 million. Adjusted for inflation, that's $47 million. A film I have seen, No Holds Barred, starring Hulk Hogan. Brother. Brought in $16 million, adjusted for inflation, that's $40 million. I mean, it is not a good film. It is terrible. It's hokey. Hulk Hogan can't really act. But Hulk Hogan walked so people like John Cena and Batista can run. Because I think Cena and Batista are good actors. Like, I'll shit on Cena the wrestler all day, every day. But as an actor, I will watch your movies as soon as they come out. They're funny. Same with Batista. He's not funny, but he's talented. A little bit of a prima donna, seems kind of pretentious for being the kind of guy he is. That'd be like me going, ew, I can't get my hands dirty or something. Like, he seems kind of pretentious. But what it is. You don't have to be stupid to be an artist. I think I prove that. Look at the way I dress, the way I act. I'm into it. But man, I can't be one of those weird, like, let me grow out my hair, get tattoos, or let me make a statement. I'm a canvas. No, I'm a dude. My name is Jeff, and that's the end of it. Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. I hate this movie. It's terrible, but it is what it is. I got to stop saying that. I've said that a lot lately. I'm cutting that out of my vernacular. But this movie made $14 million, and it brought in domestically, it made $14 million. Adjusted for inflation, that's $36 million. Great Balls of Fire, never seen this one. Brought in $13 million. And that's the last film on this list. Talk about an underwhelming ending. Great lineup, but let's end the list on Great Balls of Fire. Now, while I was reading that list, we had a couple super chats roll in. So let me make sure that we address those before we talk about other stuff. Both from Xavier to God. Thank you, man. What's your favorite version of Jackman's Wolverine? Physically, I think Days of Future Past Wolverine looks the coolest. Character-wise, I do like X2. I acknowledge Logan is a good film. I liked it when it came out. You can go back and listen to our review. I've never gone back to watch it again, and I even own the disc. It was one of those experiences where I was into it. I wasn't like moved to tears, but I was into it. I felt it, and then I've never gone back to watch it again. I don't want to. I'll never go back and be into that movie like other people. I like to see my heroes always win. I like to see my heroes go out on top. But Jeff, that's not realistic. Neither is Wolverine nor the X-Men. That's the point that I want to address with a lot of these things. People want these shows to be hyper-realistic. They want to reflect all these things. Yeah, you don't. You just want them to be good. James Bond is not realistic, nor was he ever until Daniel Craig took up the role. It was nice to have Pierce Brosnan, when he's talking to Trevelyan, oh, your parents died in a climbing accident and all this stuff. That's all I ever needed to have filled in. Oh, he got married one time. We saw that. It didn't work out. They referenced it. They didn't do flashbacks. Gotta remember, these aren't real people. They're characters. They're compelling characters. They have depth. but they're not real people, because real people aren't as interesting as these characters. Real people have moments of silence. They have stretches of boring, mundane activities in their life. We don't want to see these characters. And I also don't want to see my heroes as old, feeble men, because we're all going to become old, feeble men someday, and women. But we don't want that. You don't want to watch Indiana Jones cower in a corner. I don't want to watch Indiana Jones, I want to stay here because my son's dead and I hate my life. What the hell was that, Harrison Ford? Get back in the basement. But that's why I keep praising Beverly Hills Cop 4. Axel Foley was Axel Foley. Did he get shot? Yeah, but he gets shot in the first movie. That's not a big deal. Was he a feeble old man? Hell no. He could talk his way into anything. When the gun violence, I'll put it like this, when the bad guys came out, here came his gun, his Browning. He was ready to fight. He never backed down. He was the character we all know and love. He was an older version of it, but everybody ages. And that's where you can make a character more realistic, how they change over time, but don't turn them into a different character. Indiana Jones went from being a badass guy who was smart to a feeble old man who wanted to scream, well, actually this, actually that. Fuck him. I'm glad he should have died. I watched James Bond die. Daniel Craig's terrible. But I wouldn't have been as upset if Indiana Jones bit the bullet. That wasn't Indiana Jones to me. Xavier to God, again, thank you very much for your super chat. He says, will Captain Falcon ruin Captain America's perfect trilogy or not having a bad movie? And how did we get Red Hulk and none in a Hulk movie first? Okay, so let me answer both of these. We will ruin the trajectory. I can be as optimistic as people need me to be, but I can also be a real changes and all of these things. We see that in every Marvel movie. And so why should this be any different? Okay, I'm back. Why should this be any different? It won't be. And so with that in mind, I don't have any faith that it's going to keep the perfect trajectory. Good in all of his movies, Captain America. It's going to be a follow-up to that show. And if you like that brand of entertainment, you'll probably love Brand New World or Brave New World. But I won't. Am I still botting out? Let me know, folks. I turned off the Wi-Fi. I unplugged everything. I thought we were good to go. I do think they're trying to keep us out. You know what? Hold on a second, folks. I'll be right back. Wait. There's really nothing to turn off. Let me try one thing real quick, folks. Where's my other network to connect to? Funny, my neighbor's Wi-Fi is called the DeLorean. Maybe I should become friends with her. We'll talk about Back to the Future. Let's try this. Shut the tabs down. Help. No. There we go. Sounding better. Okay, thanks, folks. Let me know. I don't want to sound like Kenda. We recorded Dunkcast the other day, and I'm trying to edit it together because he cut out making good points, and you can't hear him. So, okay, you're not. Let's see. Showing your connection. We're having a good show. We're having a good again. Theorists. Oh wow. Oh, crap. Folks, don't click away. Give me a second. I'm going to go reset. Well, if I reset the router, it'll drop the show, and I don't want that to happen. There we go. Am I back? Am I back? Maybe. Let's see. Beep Boop is right. Yes. Yeah, YouTube being YouTube. I don't get it, man. It's StreamYard as well. I have all my bars. I'm only a couple of feet away from oh, I guess this is the universe's way of saying, "Hey Jeff, you should end the show soon so you can go make your Acolyte review." Oh, I don't want to finish it. I already wrote it. I got to record it and I got to upload it and edit it. Oh, or edit it and upload it. Not looking fun to it or looking forward to it. See, I'm so anti-Acolyte. I can't even talk straight or think straight anymore. I'm tired. There we go. All better. I will plug a network cable in. I gotta get. I wish I could get the internet in this office. It's in the main room. Well, when I buy a house, folks, we'll make sure we have a gigabyte connection. We'll have everything hardwired in. If I could, I would buy my own internet directly. Never end a show because YouTube says so. Well, maybe. I don't want to do my homework. Where were we at before everything died? I guess we were talking about iconic characters and stuff like that. Yeah. People have idealized versions. That is the number one thing you have to make sure you cross or keep in your mind when you make these things. You got to make the characters feel like the characters. That's what we all want. So now, folks, that we've talked about the summer of '89, we've talked about all sorts of stuff. Yeah, it is terrible, Ariana. That's my expression. It was so bad I forgot to shave this morning. Yeah, I got to take care of that. Let's get the camera. Okay, we can see the office better. There we go, folks. Yeah, there is a Star Wars poster behind me, but I got it real cheap at Ollie's, and it's the original Star Wars, so I don't care. What you can't see on camera is I have a giant cardboard cutout of a Blue Ranger action figure. It was a joke purchase at a comic convention I was working. I thought it would be a good thing to add to the collection, and I really, really like it. Could we talk about them censoring comments like there's no tomorrow? Something is up with this platform, and that is why I'm expanding and doing other things and trying new things with it, because I know it's not us and it's not you guys. Like, it isn't that. So it is frustrating, but I clearly haven't given up yet. We're gonna beat this thing. This is man versus machine. Liquid death. Not a commercial, but a good way to keep things rolling. Oh, Arkham, it was a big move. It cost $5,000 to move across the country. That was terrible. I was so worried about my TV too. I was like, man, I spent money on this TV. Is this thing gonna make it? And it did, thankfully. What I did is I put one of those styrofoam sheets over the screen, and I put those styrofoam corners. Then I took 2 things of bubble wrap and wrapped the TV like it was suspended in carbonite or frozen in carbonite. Then I took a bunch of paper, like the tissue paper stuff, the moving paper, and I shoved it in the box and it propped the TV up so it was kind of suspended. And then I brought it home and I cut it open like the Alien Independence Day, and it was okay. It was okay. It was perfect. I still watch it. So yeah, the tragedy of Darth Plagueis does start in the Acolyte. It is a tragedy that we had to sit through it. I want to be positive. I want to enjoy new things. I want to be entertained. But at the end of the day, Kamir and Saul and all these characters just didn't do it for me. And Osha and May, come on now. That was next level stupid. Am I supposed to have sympathy for these characters? Because they're... Honestly, I never say it like this, but it feels like the show hates the characters because the villains because they're men. And it's like there's this weird sisterhood of we got to protect each other even though you're evil, and it makes no sense. Was Plagueis in the hut? Plagueis was in, I guess it was a cave or something. I don't know. It was too vague. I think it was them trying to get a second season out of all of this. And yes, Yoda was in it. Yoda was the last thing you see in the show. See, folks, the way the last episode goes is there's a conspiracy. You think the Jedi are going to do the right thing. But this lady, the green alien that can't act to save her fucking life, she decides that she's going to go ahead and side with May and do a conspiracy to blame everything on Sol, the one character we all like. But we've watched the character of Sol. He wasn't even as gray or as morally ambiguous as they want to say. He didn't murder their mother. Their mother attacked him. She became a space cloud. He only admitted to killing her out of guilt and grief. He didn't really attack her. She turns into this cloud and he goes, and puts his lightsaber into a fucking cloud. Nobody's ever turned into a cloud in Star Wars, so why is a dude supposed to let the cloud that's going to go into your body and kill you? It was self-defense. I'll stand by it. It was a poorly written story, because then you built a whole show on lies. Oh, he killed our mother. He took us apart. No. Your mother told you to get angry, so you started a fire that destroyed your home. The Jedi maybe shouldn't have gone back, but they didn't start shit. They were attacked, they defended themselves, and then the other lady turned into the dust cloud, entered Chewbacca Jr.'s mind, and then when the other Jedi used the Force to save the Wookiee's mind, it killed the other women. Why? Why are they all connected? And then the guy couldn't save both kids. It was stupid, but he wasn't malicious. And the other girl, I don't want to talk about this. I got to make a fucking video. I'm done. I can't talk about the Acolyte outside of this video and what we're going to put out on the channel proper. Well, Scott, here's the thing, folks. You want a new property, you want new IPs. Well, just back to Jeff Hicks IP. You got to remember, I can do all kinds of interesting stuff. You all like stealing Solo. The sequel's now in production because of Mark Hamill's political comments. We're going to have a lot of fun with him. And then there's Wokebusters. It makes fun of stuff. And then next year, we're going to be bringing out original ideas. I'm not going to be the parody guy or the riff guy. I'm my own thing. I'm like David S. Pumpkins, except not as lame. I don't have an orange jacket. Sorry. But I do want new things. I'm going to make new things for you guys. I have ideas. I have concepts. Things you'll all know, and I know you'll like them too. So, thank you, Rankin. You've been a viewer for 7 years. Well, I appreciate all the years of support. It's fun. I mean, I know I wake up early and sometimes seem groggy, but it's like, I'm having a good time at the end of the day. When I go to bed, I'm like, this was cool. So now is the time to scale up things bigger than they've ever been. I'm working behind the scenes. Really, the only thing I'm working against is this platform. But with enough of you guys and hitting that like button, we can win, and we will win. So just wait for the 200K celebration. I'm going to give you guys like a day-long stream, I guess. I'm going to get guests to come on. We're going to celebrate the success. We're going to do all of those wonderful things. Now, I don't know if I could pitch a life-size Shurikopter show, but I have been talking with some toy stores around the country, and we're going to see something new and cool here on the channel regularly. A lot of people found me after The Last Jedi. Glad you guys are still here. I found a lot of stuff after The Last Jedi myself. Disappointment, anger, happiness, though, because of this. I'll be honest, I dislike the Disney Star Wars movies greatly. You know how I feel. But it brought me to all of you guys. And, well, I can't change time, and I wouldn't even if I could. It's been a fun blast. And guess what? We'll be back here on Friday as well. Now, folks, I went to a toy store. I found Ahsoka toys. They're now on clearance. And they have that new Star Wars Jedi show for kids. That's on clearance too. So that all failed. That's at Ollie's. I got video footage of that. I'll put that out I guess I should put it out this week. Why make you guys wait? You want to know now. More is better, apparently, on this platform. So let me go make you guys a toy video. Where can you get Liquid Death? Well, I did apply to be a Liquid Death reseller. I wanted WCBS to be sponsored and, by something cool that I like. I kind of live by the Tony Hawk ethos. If you're going to sponsor something, use the product or like the product. And I do like Liquid Death. I drink way too much of it. Here's 2 cans of it right here. But that's not a plug. That's just me finding a tasty beverage. Now I'll go to more toy stores. See, that's the thing. I look at the numbers. You guys like when I go to toy stores. I like going to toy stores. And the cool thing is, toy store owners, 1, they know me, and 2, they're like, please feature our store. So I got I can't tell you everything yet. You just have to watch the first video in the series because I've created something that nobody else has. And this video series then creates something else that all helps. Because at the end of the day, I do want to help all these toy businesses stay afloat. Things are hard for everybody. My local comic book store is having problems. So I make sure I buy all my shipping supplies for Stealing Solo from them. I can go to Amazon and get it cheaper, but I go down the street to support them because I want them to stick around. Do I buy a ton of Marvel comics? No. But when I do buy my big expensive books, I go to my local comic book store to give them the sale because I want them to survive. I hope that people do the same. Do I have a green screen? Why are you looking green? Do I look green? I mean, the background's blue. I do have a green screen in the closet I can pull out. I have access to a retractable green screen as well. Maybe I got enough office space. Maybe I'll put up a big green screen back here and I'll broadcast from outer space. I'll broadcast from everywhere. Yes, it is just canned water, but I enjoy it because it's straight from the Alps. And you know what happens when you feed a strainer? Never mind. It's a Big Lebowski reference you won't get. It's from the TV version. But, yeah. Folks, we're closing out on that 90-minute mark. Last time we went 2 hours because you guys wanted it. If there's anything else you want to say, get that out there now before we close this out and I get ready for more content. Tonight, I'm going to go see Twisters. I'll do more movie reviews. This has been kind of a light summer. Next week, I got Deadpool in the hopper. I will have a review for that next Thursday on the podcast proper. It'll be a Deadpool episode. Next week, I'm going to put together some sort of review for Deadpool 1 and 2 to get you guys ready and primed for Deadpool 3. And then I'll, make some content about Deadpool 3 as well. We'll give you a review. We'll talk about some stuff. Hopefully, it's a good movie. I'm holding out hope. I'm going to stay optimistic because being pessimistic might get more clicks on YouTube. Might get me more people angry and riled up because I study psychology. Like with art, I studied the psychology of faces and the simplicity of that and how to express emotions. That's why Wokebusters, beyond being a cartoon-style book, because it parodies the cartoon that we live in today, I did that to express emotion because I'm working on a Jeff Hicks style of how to reach everybody on the planet. That's the Jeff Hicks style. Every artist, their work is, you can tell it. You see Ethan's comics, you're like, that's an Ethan piece of work. You see Jim Lee, that's a Jim Lee piece of work. You all know who drew it. Me, you can tell what I've drawn. But what I'm really working on is a way to reach people on a different level. But the one thing I do as well is I take that kind of research for this YouTube channel. And I know that psychologically speaking, getting people riled up gets more views and gets them to engage more. But I also think sometimes it's kind of bullshit. And I don't really want to lead you guys on and get you riled up for nothing. I don't really believe in doing that. Honestly, Twisters looks promising. I'm going to give it a fair shake. It's Cincinnati Burger Week here in Cincinnati. So I'm going to go up to a burger place, get one of those, sneak it into the movie. I'm still going to buy my popcorn to support the theater. And then I'm going to watch Twisters in one of those rumbling seats and all the big light up screens and all that. Well, screens are lit. Who wants to watch a black screen? But I'm going to give it the full experience, and I'm going to give it a fair shake. I'm not going to take any preconceived notions I have towards the original. I'm just going to review the movie for what it is. So if you want that, join me tomorrow morning. I'll have a video of that. I don't think anything will happen to the Mario movie 2 or Kung Fu Panda. This will all blow over. Guys, all social media drama, most social media drama blows over. And Jack Black is too big of a name to actually be canceled from this. He's not going away. He's putting himself in exile because he's smart enough to know you can't talk your way out of this shit. You got to just shut up. So he'll take the L. They won't do the concerts. I'm sure he and Kyle Gass are fine. I know he's pissed. I know he's going to be angry. But I don't think their friendship is over. I just don't. So I don't think any of those things are going to happen. I don't think any of those movies are going to change. I don't believe any of that stuff will be different than what we already see. It'll just come back in a little while. Yes, Scott, I am a Cincinnati guy. We've been broadcasting the show back in Cincinnati since last year for the while we were in LA. Enjoy the FC game tonight. I have yet to be in attendance for one of those. I've been downtown during a game and the traffic's a nightmare, but have fun, man. We have some other local members as well. I won't go saying names because I don't want to dox people or put you on the spot because anonymity is important, but there are some local listeners, and I do want to hang out with some of you guys. Come to the cons. I'm there. I have a table. I sell the books. I talk to the people. We have a good time. I'll be at Dragon Con this year in a couple of weeks. Next month at this time, I'll be gearing up to go to Dragon Con. Going to see all kinds of cool YouTubers and other people I know. But also, more importantly, going to be filming some awesome content. You guys like toy videos? Well, at the cons, I'm going to start doing merchandise videos where I go through and show the vendors and show what's for sale and talk about stuff. And, put a spotlight on all these people and have some fun. Jack and Kyle should have apologized, at least, authentic or not. How many times do the other weirdos take the time to do so? You might get an apology. Well, they did technically apologize. They both said, it was stupid and all that. We did read their quotes earlier in the show. What did they say? So, Kyle Gass, what did he say personally? He goes, the line I improvised on stage Sunday night in Sydney was highly inappropriate, dangerous, and a terrible mistake. I don't condone violence of any kind in any form against anyone. What happened was a tragedy. I'm incredibly sorry for the severe lack of judgment. He added, I profoundly apologize to those I've let down and truly regret any pain I've caused. And Jack Black also had a whole statement where he says, I don't condone hate speech or encourage political violence in any form. After much reflection, I no longer feel it is appropriate to continue the tenacious detour, and all future creative plans are on hold. I'm grateful to the fans for their support and understanding. So they have apologized technically. And like I keep saying, guys, it's up to you to decide how you feel about this. I'm more of the messenger of all this stuff. My view is celebrities should never talk politics publicly because it doesn't do them any good for their brand. Their brand is for everybody. Remember when Bud Light dabbled in some stuff that turned people off, or Target? You see what happens? A celebrity is a company. A celebrity is like a corporation. You have your brand. You have the IPs you're associated with. You have your portfolio. You have money. You have customers. You have to take that into account. I think some people do that well, and I think other people do that poorly. And at the end of the day, well, like you said in the chat, politics are poison. It's really not a thing to go on and on about. Oh, of course, it affects all of our lives, and we're talking about this stuff because it's socially relevant. And that's one thing I'm going to make sure we do more on the channel is be more socially relevant in some of the topics. That doesn't mean I'm going to start going to, rallies and do stuff like that. What I'm going to do is do more stuff with you guys on brand and have fun. Now, Lord of Opossums is here to spread some love and have some fun. He's gifted 5 WCBS memberships. Well, thank you, Lord of Opossums, for your generosity. Folks, I'm going to just upload Dunkcast and try to hope that you can get through the kendo parts. I am working on how to fix a lot of our technological issues. If you have ideas, let us know. But WCBS, we have a lot of new exciting plans. Now that Wokebusters is done, there's nothing left to do. 100 pages. I can focus on this and move forward with other stuff. Lord of Opossums is getting some love in the chat. Donut Lord is saying thanks. Arkham Inmate is saying thanks. And Jason Evangelista is saying Lord of Opossums is a legend. Well, thank you for your generosity to all the WCBS members out there in the chat. Thank you guys for being members of our channel. We appreciate the support you give us to keep us alive. And we are working behind the scenes to keep giving you more. I always try to tell people, hey, I'm just one guy. I don't use that as an excuse or not. But I just want to let everybody know that it is one guy trying to run the whole show here. And I appreciate everybody who backs us and supports us. And I'm trying to log into the email right now, and I got Stealing Solo orders to ship out. So that's exciting. Those ship out very quickly. I like to get them out in under a day. The numbers are dwindling. So, oh no, man, Prime Day. I gotta sign up for my Prime Day stuff. But our friend Avocado Molotov sends in an email, and I'd read this on air. Thank you. He says, hey, man, loving your work, watching you right now, too. Hey, what's up? So I have a publisher who's very indie. He sells comics at cons and goes around as a comic publisher, comic or press. You were saying that you wanted to get your book in more places, and my friend can help you do so. He's running my old 600-page book and handles the publishing, the printing, and fulfillment, and basically everything, and he can do the same for you. Also, I've started making 3D models to print, and I was thinking it'd be fun to make some WCBS characters. Tell me what you think. Yes. Please make us some WCBS characters. One of my favorite things ever. Somebody made little paper dolls of me and Doomcock and Jeremy and Ethan, and those were awesome. I loved that kind of stuff. I would love to see more of that stuff. Thank you. So yes, send me a contact information for your friend of the publisher. I am always open to expanding the brand, and I'm always wanting to do more with it. Death to Goat, you got to thank our friend Lord of Opossums for that. But Avocado Molotov, thank you. I would definitely love to make... Oh, there we go. Another Stealing Solo has just been printed. I don't want to say your name, but thank you very much for all of that. Up north, we'll make sure your book is shipped out today as well, and very quickly. I'm going to make sure, because you guys are supporting the international shipping, which I don't choose the price as Shopify does. Sorry. Took a big bath on the Stealing Solo Fandom Menace Edition because of international shipping, and it is what it is. But I let shop. Damn it, I said it. What can I do? Every time I say it, I got to do something. Damn it, there we go. I said it. But what I was getting at is Shopify dictates that. So thank you, though, for your support of the book. John says you should collab with Fell from Germany. She lives in Cincinnati, too, and does videos about the difference between Germany and Europe and the USA pop culture movies. It might be interesting. Let me subscribe to that channel right now. That is news to me. I also took German in high school and college, and the white side of my family is German. So I think that would be a lot of fun to do. Let's see. Felly from Germany right here. Local channel. Oh, crap. Big channel, too. Let us subscribe to that and reach out to do a crossover. I would love to do something fun with this. So let me take a screenshot. See, folks, that's how I operate. I take a screenshot on my phone so I don't forget. There's my phone in the notebook. And, yeah, cool. I will see if we can make this happen. Put it on my end. I want to make it happen. I want to do cool crossovers and stuff like that. So there we are. Thank you, John Thomas. I think that's a great idea. Jason has watched her as well, and people are showing love to Lord of Opossums. So thank you for all that. Now, folks, you got me going. I was only going 90 minutes, and then the numbers went up, and now we're at an hour and 46. So I guess we're going to have to make Good Morning Pop Culture a solid 2 hours right now. So you guys got about 14 more minutes of the show. Yeah, Dr. Coffin Nails, not my choice. Believe me. If I could, I would just drive the shit to your house and hang out with you. There you go. But here's your book. Thanks for watching. That would be kind of weird because I'm not a small guy. I'm as big as I say I am. I'm the size of a pro wrestler, a football player. You can see me next to the Godfather, and I make him look tiny. And Dr. Coffin Nails knows me personally at this point. Yes, you've tricked me into more time. That's it. Guys, I'll tell you this. If we can find a way to make these shows as impactful for the channel, and I'll be honest, it's a business. It has to be successful like that. I would not be opposed to doing, more streams a day and more of this stuff. I just got to find a way to make it pay the bills like the videos do. I'm not as dogmatic about the videos because I'm afraid of change or anything like that. YouTube has just put me in a box, and I have to do certain things to keep moving forward. Thankfully, the book has been its own thing because Stealing Solo, ever since I built that website, has been a godsend. Not only did it help me fund some of the production stuff for Wokebusters, but it helped me live and do stuff for you guys. So I'm about that. Let's see. Jeff could play a Hulk, a Predator, and a horror movie, or even Godzilla. I would love to play the Predator or the Hulk. I do like the Hulk. Lou Ferrigno's a great Hulk. I mean, how do you not like Lou Ferrigno? Breadman says, you're the second tallest YouTuber I know. I know one who's an inch taller. That's okay. They're this much taller. That's okay. I used to make this comparison. It's like, is Bill Gates really that jealous of Warren Buffett for having more money or vice versa? And then you learn more about these people, and it's like, yeah, they are. I always thought, well, oh, they're rich, so they're just happy about being rich. That's how that goes. I'm wrong. I'd love some Darth Vader armor. That would be the cosplay I would do. And then Batman. I bought this Batman mask. That's out of reach. It came with a book. You've seen it. I got it at Ollie's real cheap. I look silly. Like, this Batman mask, my hair's too big. It sticks out. But this part of my face looks okay as Batman. I guess I got that going for it. You want to cosplay Hagrid? I could pull it off. Get me a fake hairpiece and wig or beard. I still think of Robbie Coltrane as is Valentin Zukovsky from GoldenEye. I should write about some of the encounters I've had in my toy videos. Well, here, I'll tell you actually how it rolls. Nobody bothers me. Nobody gets in the way. The one time I was out of town, there was a lady who was clearly on drugs going on about board games, and I talk about that in the video. But realistically, I go in at different times, and most people don't come up to me or bother me. The rule I have is I don't feature anybody in the videos. I don't want to bother people. If kids are trying to buy toys, I'll wait till the kids are done because toys are for kids. They're not really for us. Okay, let me rephrase that. Kids like toys. They're young. You don't want to ruin their fun. Like at Christmas time. Let the kids open their presents. Let them do that. My family's older now, and so my cousins are having kids, but those kids are really, really young. We're talking 6 is the oldest one, but then her now new brother's 3 months old. And then there are other kids that are in their months old range. So my family's kind of like Christmas is for everybody, but at the heart of it, I'm all about that. So I just, I don't really worry about the kids. Oh man, a kid sees a Black Panther figure. Okay, I'm sorry you're buying something crappy, but hey, enjoy your life. Have fun with it. So really, I don't want to not give you guys that content, but it's really not as exciting as you'd think. I go into the stores, I take care of my business, and I leave. I'm in there for maybe 4 to 5 minutes. I've been doing this for so long, I have a process. I don't need to stage the toys. I don't set up stuff. Outside of the Tower of Tico or the stack of Rivas, when you see massive piles of this crap, that's not me stacking it up to look good. That's what it looks like in the store. That's about as far as it goes. Now, I have been recognized making the video. Somebody in the chat was actually in the Ollie's I was in when I was making a video, and I know this listener. He's cool. Very generous guy. He gave me a Beverly Hills Cop 2 film reel as a gift at Horror Hound. So he was already cool to me. But, he was like, he talked to me. He shook my hand. I've seen guys look at me, and they're like, are you the guy from World Class Bullshitters? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I love your videos. I'm like, thanks, man. And then those guys just step out of the way real quick because they're not trying to interfere. I'm really not, I don't really face a lot of adversity. People are just kind of cool about stuff. It's kind of nice that way. Let's see. Comic Historian just released a Gotham by Gaslight video. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not trying to sound mean, but didn't Comic Historian pass away? I know it's going to be a pre-uploaded video and stuff like that, but is that the YouTuber that passed away? Sorry, I only watch a handful of comic people content. Comic Tropes is legit. I don't think he likes our channel because he thinks we're something else, but, it is what it is. Damn it, I said it again. It's disappointing to say what it is because I do enjoy that content. Not enough people do artist deep dives. The comic book artists are the foundation of what makes comic books great. Because you might think, what about the writers? A lot of the writers back in the day, some of this foundational stuff, here's an outline, here's an idea, and then the artist fills in the rest. Those guys are just as much writers as they were artists. But we don't talk about that. And that's really kind of my stance as a comic creator. It's great that you can write a book. More power to you. I got nothing but respect for you. But your name isn't why I'm buying a comic book. It has to be based on something I like, or an interesting concept, or look visually appealing. Now, a bad story and great art, it's not a great comic book, but I can tolerate. Like Batman All-Star Batman. Stupid comic book, beautiful artwork. It gets a pass. But then there are other stories that are pretty good, but have crappy art, and I go, this isn't why I'm buying this. And I'd never, ever dig on another artist. That is not my job, my prerogative. You ever see me do videos where this guy's terrible, let me redo it or this and that? I don't like that. That is not, I never said that, but that's beneath me. That's really, those people made it and they're talented, but it's the editors that put them on those books and they don't fit. Some guys like a Jim Lee or a Mark Silvestri or a Chris Samney. I'm trying to think of names that aren't John Romita or Jack Kirby or those who passed away. But those guys, they've earned their spot and they deserve the respect. Like David Finch, I love his YouTube videos. I got an exercise bike in my living room, and so I ride my exercise bike and I watch these David Finch drawing videos, and then I commit it to memory, and then I come in here at night and I'm like, all right, so what did David Finch say? He harps on drawing stuff from your memory. So I've been really focusing on that more than reference because I don't draw like Wokebusters. There's no reference to draw from. The way I do a book is I get my sketchbook and I do the whole comic in the sketchbook, and they're really rough. It's like I have to put letters on people's faces to know who's standing where and saying what. But what that does is that gives me an idea of how the story should flow. And it also, I don't have to put thought into the characters' poses. When I do that pre-work, all of that is done for me. And all I do then is think about how to draw it the most detailed or how to do it the best or efficiently. So with a lot of Wokebuster stuff, I just am like, all right, so we're here, we're here, we're here. And then so when I get to those final pages, it doesn't take hours and hours to do. But whatever I was getting at, my point is, I do think the art is far more important than just the writing. Nobody's buying script books. Nobody goes, oh, let me get Ultimate Spider-Man, the script book by Brian Michael Bendis. They do it for movies. Like a screenwriter is far more impressive than a comic book writer in terms of what they're doing. But I don't want to take away from comics writers that aren't garbage either. I don't want people to think that I disrespect them or their contributions. But, I don't think that some of these guys' work is as great as other people do. I'm not a big Alan Moore fan. I don't think Watchmen's that awesome. I own it I have the trade paperback. I have the black and white edition because I like Dave Gibbons' artwork. But I had an opportunity to pick up at Ollie's. It was really great. It was a 12-book box set, and they were each hardcover versions of Watchmen. And by the way, yes, I did this with my hand because every time I buy a hardcover book, I knock on it. I don't know why. It's just a thing. One day when I get my own books printed hardcover, the first thing I'm going to do is knock on it. I find the sound to be very, very appealing. But Watchmen just wasn't something that got me into the medium of comic books. It didn't make me think differently. It didn't make me go, wow, you can do anything with a comic book. I discovered Watchmen years before the movie. I enjoyed it. And then I moved past it. It is not a work for me that I go back to revisit the text. I'm more commercial. I go back, I reread Batman Hush the other day because the story's great. No, because Jim Lee's the man. And that storytelling, that paneling. There are very few comic books where every panel is like an iconic superhero shot. And Batman Hush is one of, if not the most iconic Batman stories ever. Now, I think Neil Adams' Batman is the definitive Batman. I like Jim Aparo Batman. I like Bruce Timm Batman. But Jim Lee Batman is its own beast, and it's so good. You may not like Jim Lee. You may not like DC Comics, or for multiple reasons, and you're justified. But Batman Hush is perfect looking. I love it. There's an issue of Spider-Man. It might be Amazing Spider-Man number 67 or 68. It's the one before Crisis on Campus. There are so many beautiful shots of Spider-Man in that book. They actually cut them out and put them on merchandise. I don't have my mug with me, but there's a very famous pose of Spider-Man climbing down the wall. They put that on everything to this day. It comes from that book. There's a couple other panels that they put on t-shirts and stuff. Those comic books are special to me, not because they put it on a t-shirt, not because I need to know the origin of merchandise. It's because that book came out. Imagine being a kid in the 60s going, wow, these Spider-Man poses are so, these Spider-Man figures are so amazing. No pun intended. They're perfectly drawn. They're perfectly inked. That's the kind of stuff that gets my attention as a comic book creator. Books like From Hell or Road to Perdition or Walking Dead, those books are all good. Those types of things are fine, but they're not on my radar. I would much rather sit down with an old heavy metal magazine than I would, what's considered an iconic comic book today, because I'm reading it for something else. And that's what I put in my work too. I know I sound hypocritical when I say it because I'm a storyteller, I'm a writer, and the script is the most important part for my work, because if it doesn't make sense, it's stupid. But when I consume the work myself, I put focus on that. And as I move out of parody or other things that require a certain art style, I'm very experimental in terms of panel layout. I do like to do the big figures like other people, but I think good comic book art too is good storytelling. And I put that on the art. I don't put that on the writer, because you might give me a beat by beat analysis of what you want to see on the page. You might give me a beat by beat layout of how it should go. But ultimately, where I put the figures, where I put the background, the light and the shadow, that's me. That's the artist, and they're all artists. And that's what the beauty of a comic book is. Because I read these scripts, interior, daytime, Daily Bugle. Okay, what is it? It's a multitude of things. We could do a 3-point perspective shot, looking up, looking down. We could do 2-point to show the Daily Bugle sign. There's all these different ways to convey the story. That's on the artist, not the writer. And I really think that people should take a step back and realize that and give those guys the credit. They do more of the work. To sit and write a comic book script takes hours. That's it. To draw this shit takes weeks, months, sometimes years. That's the real effort, and that's the real work. And those guys are the workhorses. So make sure, people know that. Let's see what we're talking about in terms of comics. The numbers keep going up, so I keep talking here. Let's see. They ruined animated Hush. It was trash. Didn't watch it. Did not watch it at all. It lives to me as a comic book. I got the black and white version. I got the deluxe edition. If they ever, I should get the absolute Hush. I'm not as much of a DC guy as I am a Marvel guy, but I should. Yes, Jason, I agree with you. It is one of the greatest. Yes, I did read Understanding Comics by Scott McCloud. When I was in college, I went to Michigan State University for advertising, and then I went to UC for communications. Michigan State has the largest comic book collection in the world, according to them. They have it on microfilm. They have the books. You go down there, there's these archives. You know how the shelves expand? You go down to the archives, this room opens up, and then there's just Spider-Man from 1963, and you're just like, oh my God, there it is. And you're allowed to take them out. You're allowed to look at them. It's so bizarre to me. This was also 2009, so things could have changed over the last 15 years or so. But I remember being so taken aback. Jeff Johns went to that school. They were trying to get Jeff Johns to come speak to my class. I thought that would have been amazing. Again, this is 2009. We're talking, what is that? Brightest Day, Blackest Night, all that era of stuff. That would have been incredible. I would have geeked out so hard. But I did take the class. Sorry, I'm thinking back to college now. That's when I had so much fun. I like doing the channel. I love doing the channel. College days were great too. My life was like Animal House mixed with old school. I was the party guy, but I still made it to class. But no, Avocado, I read that book for a comics class, and it was funny. It's really funny because I don't think the teacher particularly liked me at all. But I don't know why. I never was, disruptive. I was never rude. I followed everything he wanted to do. But he always propped up the other people's stuff, the other people's work. He always kind of was like, I don't like you. And I didn't take it personally. But what I did do at the end of the semester was I knew I could draw better than everybody in this class. And I showed it. And I would get frustrated when they would give out the things and rank the books. And I'm like, and they weren't talking about the story because they were just like, what stuff looks the best? Because this guy was trying to teach you how to draw. He's like, the writing is on you. And the stuff was very simple, very basic, whatever. I'm not here to dig on an artist, but I thought I can do better than this and everybody here. So at the end of the year, we did like a little book. We did and you would go get it printed at like a FedEx. And it was just like all your comics and art that you wanted to put in. And so I wanted to show off. So I did a bunch of superhero drawings. I did this big drawing of Spider-Man on an 11 by 17 page, and I put it in the book, and I put all of this crap, and the teacher's like, you're going to get sued for copyright. I'm a 22-year-old guy in college, whatever. But the point is, we were allowed to go to a store and sell these books, and I outsold everybody because I had cool superheroes in my book. And so I was kind of like, suck it, dude. But not really. Honestly, I haven't thought about this guy in years. I wouldn't mind sending him a copy of Stealing Solo and being like, hey, man, this book grossed $150,000. Thanks for nothing. It really sucks, too, because, you'd think you get into this class and you're like, this is my calling. Here we go. And this guy just sucked. I won't say his name because he's not published, but I don't want people to go after him or talk shit or think of him as lesser. But he was a dick. And intentionally towards me. And I'd love to run into him today and be like, hey man, I'm going. You couldn't demoralize me. You couldn't scare me off. You couldn't talk me out of my dream. Now we're on graphic novel 2. Wokebusters is huge. It's literally 100 pages of story. And then we got Stealing Solo 2 in the hopper and all this other great stuff. And I think what I'm trying to tell you guys, folks, is if you're passionate about something, you will always find a way to make it happen. And don't let a teacher, don't let a family member tell you, oh, this is stupid. These are lame. Fucking go for it, man. I'm the prime example of that. I went for it and I keep going for it and I'm having a great time with it. I'm ready to, keep going. How do you pitch an idea to me? Well, you can always shoot me an email at info@worldclassbullshitters.com and maybe we can talk. I can't promise anything. I can't promise that, oh, we're going to make stuff happen right away, but you never know. Always talk to me. We can make stuff happen. You said rub it in, be petty. Maybe it was prejudice. Maybe one day I'll just send him a box of comics that I've done. Dear guy, I took your class in 2009, and it was a very disappointing experience. You all but told me that I should never do this. But I stuck with it, and here I am. Love, Jeff. Something like that. I don't know. Thank you for checking out the collection. By the way, folks, on Good Morning Pop Culture, I can happily share anything you want to see from the collection. I added some new rock figures. We got Batman. I got higher end Batman stuff. I got like a Hot Toy 89 Keaton. I got the Mezco, which is like $120 for a figure this big. I know, I bought 2 of them. Actually, now I could resell it if I wanted to for a lot more money. See, the trick is, folks, if you're into the economics of toys like me, don't scalp. Don't steal from collectors. But if you buy 2 of something and you hold on to it long enough, it goes up in value. That's called an investment. And if I were to sell my investment for double or triple what I paid, not only was my toy free, the one that I opened, but I also have a little bit of money to show. There is a way to make money from toys without being a dickbag, without going into stores and buying up all the exclusives and selling them for $50. I hate when people go, hey, bro, I'm in Walmart. Does anybody need this? Put that shit on the shelf. Don't try to charge me $40 for a $20 toy. Oh, I'm just helping. You ain't helping shit. All right? You want to help? Ship it to me for exactly what it costs. Don't make a profit. But my guess, you were already in the store. What's your reasoning? I'm sorry. I have very, very, very strict or staunch views on that. I don't like it at all. I had a fine art teacher who told me comics weren't art. She failed me for drawing Marvel. That's bullshit. Lord Nero, I didn't want to say that, but my stuff did look better. I was a kid, and it was really ugly and like rough and unrefined, but it was still more interesting and exciting. Like I did a callback cover to Avengers #4. Nobody got the cover reference. I was like, what am I fucking doing? Because I was sitting down there in the lab scanning my art, stitching it together. I even did digital coloring. It looked whatever, but I was doing that. I guess that's the reason. But, you know, it is what it is. Fuck, I said it again. Damn it. I need a counter on that, folks. Let me know how many times I said that shit. I kind of like how you guys are like, get back at him. Get back at him. After stealing Solo 2 makes me, you know, another 150 grand or something, then I'll be like, dear Mr. Blank. I should give him like us to send him like a 5. I send him free copies of the book and like people line up to buy these things and they're sold out. What do you think? Toys took a hit because of inflation. Yeah, toys took a hit because of inflation, but I'm a collector. Toy companies have been greedy. Hasbro's greedy. One thing I'll say in a lot of these companies' defense, licensing costs have gone up. Ever since Disney took over Star Wars, they jacked up the licensing costs. That's why the product quality went down, but the price stayed the same. I'm not making excuses for Hasbro. Do not mistake that. But that is a true thing. Send a signed copy. Oh, man, I'm going to send him signed copies of everything. You're ultimately way better with a camera, says Lord Rawl. Well, thank you very much. I didn't always have a nice setup, but I want to give shout out to the side scrollers because it was nice to be invited on something big, and it was nice to be invited on something hosted by somebody that I used to watch. When I was in college, I watched Screw Attack. I knew Stuttering Craig. I watched his countdowns. I thought that guy was cool, and I still do. And the fact that he's like, hey, man, we want to have you on our show was like exciting. So I went and I did all of this over the course of a couple of days. I stopped doing channel work. I was like, this is it. I got to finally get this set up. You know, I had moved back. Things were whatever. I was just getting through Wokebusters, trying to do everything I could. But then I was like, fuck it. Let's do it. I'm going to go buy more shelves on Prime Day today because I have boxes of books. I am a big reader. And so I got to have a space for my books. I need a new bookcase. But back to the thing about the collection. I would definitely do more stuff on my collection. What do you guys want to see? Pick something. I'll show you 2 or 3 things. You got me going for another couple of minutes. But tell me, like, do you want to see, like, here's your choices. Do you want to see a Batman, a wrestler, something from Power Rangers, 007, Marvel, or Back to the Future? Back to the Future, I don't have as many things up right now. I got like a hot toy Marty McFly and some shit like that. But I got like these figures right here, this box. These are Japanese X-Men from Mafex. And I'm working on the Ghibli. Oh, I got to get Rogue. Shit. I will do that today. I'm not trying to blow money on stuff, but if I miss Rogue, she'll go up in price, and then I won't have the set, and then my value goes down as well. That's the secret of collecting as well. Thank you. I like my sideburns too. I gotta trim it up and shave because you work from home, okay? Being on camera every other day is a good motivator to keep yourself groomed properly. I do have a DeLorean. I do have the Transformers DeLorean. Hold on a second. No. Hold on. I actually see where it is. Give me a quick second. I'll be right back. Oh no, Indiana Jones. I think a lot of people said, oh no, Indiana Jones over the last year. Me being one of them. Okay, so I do have a DeLorean DeLorean Transformer right here. This is official from Back to the Future, the 35th anniversary. We got the back right here. He's called Gigawatt, and he's cool. I've never opened it because I didn't open it, and why open it now? It's just going to sit on the shelf next to the other DeLoreans, but I have a lot of DeLoreans, and this is probably one of the most unique ones. But when I said, oh no, Indiana Jones, my little Indiana Jones from Burger King fell. I was like, oh no! And I don't know how, but this one looks more like Harrison Ford than some of the stuff from Hasbro does. And this was a Burger King toy, so you got a kid's meal to get it. That's about it. I also have the Lego DeLorean. It's in the closet. Shout out to Enrique, one of the listeners of the channel, who became my real life friend through the channel. He sent me one. I was like, thanks for hooking me up, man. So shout out to you, Enrique. Nick built his on the stream, so you follow us on Twitch, and you can watch that happen. Let's see. Dirty D Senpai says, show a wrestler. Okay, I can do that. I'll show you. Let's see who we're going to look at. All right, folks, you can probably hear me talking in the background as I'm here at my wrestling shelf. Let's show you. Oh, okay. This is cool. You may not have seen this before. And then I'll show you something from when I was a kid. This is way too much fun. You guys should join me on Saturday when we're moving the needle for Wokebusters. We can do more of this stuff as well. So here's something you probably have never seen. I have a Japanese import figure of The Rock. This is an SH Figure Arts Rock. There was a WWE line, and it was not successful. They did The Rock, Triple H, Stone Cold, and The Undertaker. I don't think they did Kane. But I found this at Toys R Us. It's a Japanese import, but I was at the store, and I was like, oh, man, they got The Rock. And, you know, he's $50. But let's see how the face quality shows up on camera. It looks like him. It's a very specific version of The Rock from 2001, 2002. You can see the joints are kind of funky. But unlike Triple H and other wrestlers, they actually put The Rock's logo on his trunks both places. So this is fun. It has never really been touched. It sat in a box until I moved here. So that was fun. Let's see. He said, didn't you count your variations of The Rock? You have nice to see the evolution of Rock figures. I do. I actually brought this one over. This is from my childhood. He's a little dusty, but this is from '02. This is what they call an R3 technology Rock. Why? Because somewhere in this figure is a microchip, and if you put it in the playsets, it will, make the playsets talk. When I was younger, they had this shit called Titantron Live. They put a little metal peg on the wrestler's foot, and you would step on the stage, and it would make the music play. Now entering the Titantron, and then The Rock's music would play or Stone Cold's, and then you make your wrestler walk to the ring and do their entrance. It was awesome back in the day. And I had this thing called a trash talking stage, where you put your wrestlers on, and The Rock would go, "Know your role and shut your mouth." Chris Jericho would talk. It was awesome. I got it for Easter 2000. My mom would buy me Easter, Valentine's gifts. Oh, she still does. She's like, "Hey, honey, happy Valentine's Day. Here's a gift card." I'm like, "Thanks, Mom." So that was an Easter present. But I loved the Titantron Live figure. God, this is really caked on dust. I gotta clean this bad boy. He's like gray looking almost. Look at that. The Rock has changed colors over the years. But these were great back in the day because these were actually digitally scanned heads. And I'll be super specific, Jack's specific, but specific for a moment. These were actually, some of these were better detailed than the new stuff. They would do like hair fading and make it, more realistic. And you look at the figures nowadays, and they all got, black solid hair, and they look better than ever overall. But little bitty things like this make me really like them. Larry Bundy Jr., what's up, man? Folks, be on the lookout for more from Larry Bundy Jr. and I. He says, I have the Chris Benoit figure with the maybe a choking hazard to small children warning. I have Chris Benoit up on that shelf too. Excuse me, folks. The dust from that rock figure got off me, and now I'm dying. I apologize for coughing on the mic. Damn dust. No, I have Chris Benoit up there. I went toy shopping before I left California with my buddy, and we bought Chris Benoit. I bought Chris Benoit. I also bought the Big Show and Triple H. I was like, I got to have the main event of WrestleMania 2000. Am I looking forward to Disney's latest disaster, Deadpool Wolverine? Well, I'll give it a fair shake. We'll have a review next week. I'm going to go see it Thursday afternoon before most people can, and I will have a review. We'll do it, and the next morning will be a Good Morning Pop Culture, and you can check that out as well. So, Lord Rollo, be prepared for that. Let's see. You could do a how to draw comics, maybe like a tutorial kind of thing, and take requests. I think it's a great idea. Let me take a picture of that. Now, are you saying do that as videos? Because I know this is crazy. Even though I'm not as established or, accomplished as a lot of these old school guys or other people in the field, in 2018, I did write a how to draw book because I have a formula, which I still sort of use. Yeah, art is interesting. It's like you have to learn the building blocks, but then once you figure out how to get to the final destination in your own way, your art will look better. So for example, I used to do the line, then I would do the shoulders and the circles for the arms and build it off, how every drawing book does. But then I realized you could really do a lot of this with circles quicker instead of doing all this. And now I'm at a way where I'll draw the head, and then I guess because I do it all mentally now, I'll draw the head and then I build the body down quickly. And like I said, I am not Ramita. I'm not one of these masters yet, but people buy the stuff and it keeps getting better, especially with Stealing Solo is a 5-year-old book and people love that thing. And Woke Busters is newer. And then, Stealing Solo 2, I'm going to make it, it'll be a showcase of art. It'll be much more detailed and realistic. I'm going to get my brush out, the digital brush, and I'm really going to make this thing look like I want it to look. I was using technology for Stealing Solo 1 that I wasn't really that knowledgeable of, but I'm really proud of the work, and it turned out great. And Woke Busters, I know what I'm doing. Folks, I may not have paper, but this is my comic studio right here. This iPad, I do everything on here. And this is the 2nd gen Apple Pencil that, is magnetic and good, and I stand by it. Yes, I would love to have originals to sell for hundreds of dollars per page, but I do like the convenience of making a couple taps, drawing for hours, moving on, not having any space issues. This thing is is this a terabyte iPad? It was the M1 chip. It was the most expensive one. After Stealing Solo, the Phantom Menace edition was out, and I got my funds. Business expense. Bought the iPad, bought this computer, and that's really it. I didn't go on it. I went home to visit my mom that summer while the book was getting printed. But I'm very, very happy to do drawing stuff like that. If you want to have fun with that, let me know. I can't draw the ladies that I normally draw on my Instagram because YouTube will take this channel down. But we can do other stuff. And there are a lot of great guys out there doing tutorials. Hell, I even watch some of them. But I do have some fun ways to teach you some stuff. And, it could be informative as well. How to draw Marvel the comics way. I had that as a kid. I felt like I need to stand in his bullpen and he was talking to us kids. I had that book too. I've told this story, but I'll tell you again. The reason I got into comic book art and wanted to be what I am is the first Spider-Man movie was so exciting. I remember almost a year before it came out, I was like, there's a Spider-Man movie? Whoa! I don't know why that blew my mind, but I was like, Mom, I got to learn how to draw comic books. So we went to Media Play. And she bought me How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. The guy's like, I think this book's out of print. We have one copy left. It was mine. I went home and I had, I also picked up a couple issues of Spider-Man at Media Play. And I was like, man, in a couple of years, I'm going to be drawing as good as this. And no, it's a lifelong journey. That the pages I'm talking about, I've gone back to look at them. I'm like, I think I could pull that off. No problem. But I'm not, 13-year-old me, 12-year-old me thought it was going to be a different journey. And it's not. But it's still awesome. Do I have a favorite female superhero? Rogue and Storm from the X-Men. The way I treat stuff, folks, is if I'm willing to drop money on a high-end piece of merchandise of a character, I like them. I don't do like hot toys of all these characters because I don't like all the hot toys that come out. Like I don't do movie versions. Like I have Marty McFly, I got Batman 89, but I don't have like Hugh Jackman Wolverine or movie Deadpool. I have those in little figure forms. But I also want to get the big not Hyatt toys. Whoever's doing the Wolverine doll, they're all like the Jim Lee designs. I'll buy that. That's what I'm enjoying. But my favorite would have to be Stormer Rogue from the X-Men. And then from DC, Wonder Woman. She's cool. I like Power Girl, but for the wrong reasons. And then again, I'm a man, so there are no wrong reasons there. But my favorite heroes, I have to have something that I can at least relate to. The dead parent thing usually works for me, or the intelligence factor. Like I wasn't a nerdy kid at all, but I was a good student. So I liked Billy the Blue Ranger. I liked Peter Parker because they were, students. And my mom harped on the importance of being a good student, studying, and all that stuff. So I kind of gravitated towards those characters. I find it much more interesting when a character like Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones is a smart character. He uses his brain to get out of situations as well as his brawn. When he goes Jehovah and J, and he goes, wait, it's spelled with an I in Latin and all that stuff. Like, I like a character to be the smartest guy in the room. Mark Hamill, dummy. Yeah. Good old, was he Eli Drake back then? Yeah, that dude makes me happy. Thank you, Lord Rollo. I appreciate it being called the GOAT. I'm having a good time with it. Again, I went another extra 20 minutes. Guys, fine, I'll give you 9 more minutes of the show. Ask me anything you want to ask me, then we'll go. I was like, 90 minutes, good. 2 hours, good. Now I got to do 2 hours 30. I like to end on those 30-minute increments. Now, Saturday, if you guys are free, come hang out with me again. We're going to do one of these. I'll have my Wokebusters shirt on. We're going to really get Wokebusters moving. We're going to talk about that stuff. You got a Godzilla collection. Somebody had sent me some cool Godzilla figures. I got Mechagodzilla up there right now. But yeah, I'm lucky that I have my collection. I'm grateful for it. It was all taken to California, and it all made it back. And a lot of my stuff, like from my childhood, never went out there. Like my old Power Rangers toys, that's from when I was a kid. I don't keep them because, they remind me of my childhood. The story of how I got them is crazy. And that's going to be a comic eventually. What was my favorite toy growing up? I really liked my Batman from the animated series. My grandma bought it for me. It went everywhere. It was one of the few toys that had paint damage. Because most of my toys, if you were to clean off the dust, are like new. Like this Rock figure, he has like one kind of loose arm, but like it wasn't really that tight when it came out. And I'm also noticing too, they forgot to put his tattoo on his arm, so whatever. But like, the finger joints are still tight. There's no paint scuffs. They're kind of all like new. I really played with my toys and enjoyed them, but I didn't beat him up. Batman, though, I carried him everywhere. So the paint kind of rubbed off on his feet. The emblem kind of wore off. And I've gone back and got replacement Batmans because it's my favorite figure of Batman. But that was a favorite. There's a specific Rock I like. It was the first one that ever came in the ring, the accurate ring gear. I know you're thinking, oh man, they started out with it. No, they kept putting, in the Titantron series, they'd put the Rock in like a t-shirt or jeans, which he never wore on TV, or all these, well, he did as a heel in the Nation of Domination. But my point is, it was never what was on TV at the time. But in the year 2000, I finally found, it was called House of Pain, The Rock. He came in his ring gear, and I was like, no way, finally, they made one. And of course, my mom bought it for me because she's cool. But man, I had that. It's literally just chilling there at the top. I kind of differentiate the newer stuff from the older stuff. But that was my favorite as a kid. He didn't go everywhere with me because I wasn't taking toys with me at 12. But like when I played with my wrestlers, that was it. Who is your, going back to artists, who are your go-to comic book artists you enjoy past and present? John Romita Sr. is the man. I like John Byrne, John Buscema, Jim Lee, Alex Toth. I like Steve Ditko. I find he's way more influential than I want to let on. I kind of look at like Ditko and like Romita's the man and Ditko's very good, but there are certain artistic shortcomings that I mistook as shortcomings instead of stylistic choices. And now I find myself doing more Ditko-esque things. Same with Jack Kirby. There's something about early Marvel that just speaks to me. I have been talking to other artist friends, though, and I do want to modernize some of my stuff because modern layouts are different than classic layouts. And I don't think modern audiences get it as much. They look at it as, oh, this is antiquated or you can't do that. And so I don't want to mistake people. I don't want to confuse people with a choice I make versus a a limiting factor, which I don't have many of, thankfully. So the old guys are always my favorite. Like I got an Alex Toth book right back here. Now, did I buy this because I like Zorro? No, Zorro's cool, but I bought this because of the artist right here. I love this style. I like realistic, semi-realistic proportions with a semi-cartoony face and strong blacks to delineate the shadows, but not like cross-hatching like a Jim Lee. Like his work's great. I'm nothing but respect for it, but I don't want to draw like that. I don't find that interesting to look at. That's just not my thing. Outside of the animated series, what's your favorite Kevin Conroy Batman? Oh, outside of the show, it's his appearance. I like the games. I like the Arkham trilogy. I liked, what was it, Justice League Doom? What was the one about the Tower of Babel? I liked that. That was great. What do you think of the final version, boss version of The Rock? I like it. It's cool. It's different. I've been a fan. Let's see. Our friend Xavier de God with the super chat. Thank you very much. He says, will Captain Falcon ruin Captain America's wait, I already read that one. Sorry. Here we go. We saw Toby come back as Spider-Man and the Amazing Spider-Man come back. I wonder what's next for them. Also, there's rumors of Avengers versus X-Men films. Avengers versus X-Men, the comic wasn't that bad. It wasn't great. It wasn't like a game changer for me, but I bought it. I don't think anything should come from Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, or Andrew Garfield. I was a fan. I bought into the hype. I bought the action figures. I got it all. I loved it. I was into it. But it's a one and done. Kind of like Beverly Hills Cop 4, there shouldn't be more Axel Foley. There shouldn't be more of these Spider-Men. I believe in balance. In entertainment, you can balance a franchise by giving the characters a good run if you bring them back. Like if you bring them back and they suck, then Indiana Jones, perfect example. 4 is bad, 5's worse. But Spider-Man 3 isn't that great. But they bring him back in the fourth one, or the other one, No Way Home, and it was epic. Andrew Garfield redeems himself. Epic. Don't do more. It is far more important to keep an audience hungry and excited for the possibility of more without actually giving them more. We will continue to buy Tobey Maguire figures. I have. We will continue to look at the Andrew Garfield stuff in a different light. Everybody will look back on this fondly. But you should move forward with Tom Holland. You finally got the character in a good place where you can grow forward and do a lot of stories in this version of Spider-Man. Let's do that. Let's not go back. That's my take on it, man. I love him. I thought Tobey Maguire was great. I'd love to meet him, shake his hand. Him and Sam Raimi are very influential. Well, Sam Raimi's influential. Tobey Maguire's just in a movie that I really like, but I respect him nonetheless. Oh, man, there you go. Gola, I missed listening to this. I used to listen to you back in 2019 when I was on third shift. Thanks for making checking in freight so much better. Well, thank you for joining us all those years ago, and thanks for still checking in all these years later. I'm glad. I feel like Good Morning Pop Culture was this little secret gem that I always had, that as soon as I brought it out, everybody would be back for it. So I'm going to make the mornings belong to me. Good Morning Pop Culture. This Monday, Wednesday, Friday version is just to help me get through a couple channel things and help structure things. But then I want to do it as a daily show. I want to have segments and overlays and do it right. Right now, I get it. I'm a guy in a studio doing my thing with an awesome collection behind me and, wonky lights that make me look kind of funny. But we are world class, and I want to turn this into more stuff. I want to do bigger things with it. I'm never satisfied with where I am, but that doesn't mean I'm not satisfied with what I have. I always want to do bigger and better and move forward, and that's what we're going to do with Good Morning Pop Culture. I'd like to see Good Morning Pop Culture on billboards featuring me, I guess. It's not an ego thing, but I'm the only thing that's on every episode. Let's see. We're closing down in the last minute and a half. Let's see. Crystal Skull, I didn't mind it. It had charm to it, and it gave you indie nostalgia. We'll never watch the last movie. I feel a little different. It did give you some indie nostalgia. I saw it on opening day. I saw it multiple times in theaters, but it suffered the same problems that the Star Wars prequel trilogy faced, and it was the first bad Indiana Jones. And that was the problem for me. And so you ruined it, and now it's not perfect anymore. Canadian Spider-Man, what is up? We haven't seen you in a while. Good morning. Welcome into Good Morning Pop Culture. It's funny. I want to go because I don't want to stream over people and stuff, but like more people keep coming in. So it's like the dilemma of, do we keep going because people are having a good time, or do we close it out? Do you really want the Acolyte review that much, folks? I'm sure you'll watch it. But yeah. Oh, man. Shit, if we keep going, I'll have to go eat lunch and do a lunch stream as what am I having today? I think a chicken sandwich or a salad. Yeah, I take much better care of myself these days. When you're an adult, you kind of gotta. Plus, I'll be honest, seeing stuff happen with my mom's health and other people's health, I'm like, I want to avoid those problems. So it is a directive of mine to make sure I live longer, because things keep getting better as I get older. And I'm like, yeah, I'm this age now, and things just feel like they're getting started even bigger. Last thing I want to do is, get sick or have something happen to me that I could have avoided. So that is it. But thank you, Canadian Spider-Man. I'm feeling good. Maybe one of these days I'll do a stream from the exercise. Like, folks, I'm going for a 100-mile ride. Let's see how long I can make it. Because I can do, I did 10 miles in 30 minutes. So that'd be 300 minutes. That'd be a lot of bike riding to do 100 miles. You don't want to watch me sweat on camera. You probably already have in the past, because sometimes it gets hot here. About 3 weeks ago, the air conditioning went out, and I had a jar of coconut oil on the shelf in the pantry. It was so hot that it melted the coconut oil, and I was like, Jesus. It felt like the midnight sun in the Twilight Zone. One of my favorite episodes of the Twilight Zone. Was it Lois Nettleton and that old lady? And you've seen the episode. But I felt like I was living in that. If I was a painter, my shit would have just melted. That's why I work digitally, folks. You can't control the weather, and sometimes it'll destroy your art. So I keep it backed up on a digital file. 100 degrees there today. Ooh, it's 83 degrees here, mostly sunny. This is not NPR, but it's 12:30. So it's been hot. It's been humid. That's the thing that bothers me. When I lived out west, it got hot, but there was no humidity, so I got outdoors a lot more. I walked around. I would eat outside. I do like the outdoors. I just hate melting in the sun. It's miserable. I went to a party the other day, and my friends wanted to hug me, and I was like talking to her. I'm like, I am kind of sweaty from the heat. She's like, I don't care. But it was bad. What is my favorite thing about Spider-Man 2099? The costume. And then the setting. The story's okay. There you go, folks. See, my theory on comic books. If it looks cool, I'll give it a shot. Good morning, gentlemen. It's 110 degrees. Well, good luck with all that heat. Oof. What movie is that from? Have I played Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts? Is it good? I have not. I did not like Banjo-Kazooie as a kid. From Rareware, I liked GoldenEye, and I bought Jet Horse Gemini. Those rhymed. Banjo-Kazooie, and I had Donkey Kong 64 as well. I never got into the 3D collectathon games. If I'm going to play a 3D game, it was either action or shooting or something else immersive. But kind of just running around the map, picking up puzzle pieces and stuff like that, it didn't really speak to me. So it was fun, but it wasn't for me ultimately. I like the suit being blue and red. I know it's supposed to be black because of the highlights, but it just looks more appealing when it's blue, especially when Rick Leonardi draws it. He was the best Spider-Man 2099 artist. Love that guy's work. Definitely study it, because he has a great sense of anatomy with a great flow. The characters look like they're moving across the screen. Or the page. I really like that a lot. Oh, it's Top Gun. Well, I should rewatch Top Gun. I like Maverick more than the original. I know, I said it right. Not perfect. But folks, let's get rolling. It feels weird trying to close out when the number goes up, but remember what happened last time? We did a 5-hour podcast, and it was hilarity. So go back and listen to that. I'll be back tomorrow with the show. I'll have a Twisters review. I'm going to go see it tonight. Good Morning Pop Culture will be back on Friday for a weekend recap session where we can talk about anything that happened over the past week and have a lot of fun. I, too, like the Future Foundation suit. That is my original black. We only talk Peter Parker. Original black. Future Foundation is my third favorite Spider-Man costume. When that came out, I was so into it. I don't have an action figure of it because I don't think they've made it in years, and I'm not paying back, secondary market prices for it. But I love the Future Foundation suit, and I read those books because I liked the costume. And Mike McCone is a good artist, so I support my artists by buying their books. Yes, I will have a wonderful day. Folks, thank you for joining. Good Morning Pop Culture. It's great. Day 1 was a success. 2, more people are watching. I'd like to get this show, when we have 1,000 people watching each morning, that'll be the first metric that it's working. That'll be when we're able to then level up the show and do things like that. That is what I'm looking forward to doing. So, folks, we're already almost a third of the way, well, a quarter of the way there. We're more than a quarter of the way there right now. And I don't want anyone to think I don't appreciate you guys spending the time and hanging out with me. You guys mean the world. All I ask is that you spread the word and tell people, get more people to come into Good Morning Pop Culture. Let's get this thing going crazy. Let's be the morning. I want people to wake up and go, oh man, what's going on in the world? I don't care. I'm going to watch Good Morning Pop Culture and get away from all that stuff. I'm glad you guys missed this so much. I'm glad you missed me. It makes me feel good. I missed all of you. Join us on all the live shows and tell us, honestly, email us, info@worldclassbullshitters.com. Tell us what you want more of from WCBS. I admit the last couple of years, I've just been so deep into Wokebusters and trying to take care of life. And, I met a couple listeners who are like, people understand when you go through some life stuff. I'm glad you guys have been here the whole time, and I appreciate you. And now that everything's moved forward and we're beyond all that stuff, let's take this channel to greater heights than it's ever been to. This was a lot of fun. I'm glad you guys enjoyed this, and I'll be back tomorrow night with the guys, and I'll be back Friday morning on time. So I'm going to do the Neutron dance all the way out of here. I got to stir it up, man. Breakdown, shakedown, and all those other great Beverly Hills Cop music references. Shit, I might go turn on the album after this. Hold on one second. Am I going to embarrass myself by showing this? I believe. Oh, no. Okay. I was one song removed. But, I mean, come on now. I've only listened to this song way more than I'm willing to admit. Like, I may or may not, because I got a sound bar in the living room, I may or may not connect to the sound bar in the morning and play Axel F as I go to make my coffee. I'll tell you this. I know you're joking, Sam. If streaming for 10 hours a day paid the bills, I would do it. I don't want to come off as I only do this for money. I do what I enjoy, but I do have to be a businessman about stuff. But folks, if you can help us get this going, because this is a group thing, I would not be opposed to working all these hours a day to stream, to hang out. I've had an interesting enough life that I could tell you about crazy stuff. I've been all over the world. I've lived in different places. I once ran into a bear at Lake Tahoe. That was a lot of fun. I'm pretty cool with where I am in life, and I'm happy to keep going on. So, folks, thank you. I'm going to go watch Twisters tonight. Wish me luck. But it'll be a lot of fun, and I'm going to go have one of those big cheeseburgers. Canadian Spider-Man, thank you. I will tell the other guys. I'm just joking. I won't tell them you said that. Don't worry. But we're going to have a lot of fun tomorrow night, folks, and we're going to have a lot more fun moving forward with WCBS. Wait till we get to the fall when less people are working and lurking, and they're put it like this. Everybody works, but summer's always slow. We've never done Good Morning Pop Culture consistently in the fall. Let's try that this year, okay? Now, folks, again, I want to tell you thanks. Thank you for all the people who've been buying Stealing Solo while we're on the air. It ships worldwide. I appreciate that. Wokebusters, we needed to cross that goal, but it's not going to deter me from doing comics. And anybody who's backed it and stuff, you're going to get your first edition copies as I have the money put aside, so that's not even an issue. But you guys will have all of that stuff sent out to you, and be on the lookout for Stealing Solo 2. You heard Mark Hamill's comments. I'm inspired. It's time. I designed the cover yesterday. I have the story beats. I already had an outline of the story done, but I'm going to shoot for. Now, I will not cut corners in terms of quality, and I will not let this channel fall apart. But I am shooting for this book to be ready by election season. Like, seriously, I'm not joking. It was never going to be a 100-page epic. Wokebusters is just too big. Well, not too big. It's just big what it needs to be. But this is going to be more of a traditional-sized book and story, and I will get that out this year for you guys. And it'll look as great as other stuff, probably even better, if I may say so myself. Does Jeff actually like XLF? Oh, dude. Oh, no. See, man, Canadian Spider-Man, I did like it. Go back and watch my video about it. I really liked Axel F quite a bit because I don't think his daughter did the things. Like when in the scene where they're at the car impound lot, Axel rises to the occasion. See, she tries to cut his legs out from underneath him, but he shows that he still got it. But we also see that he gets a little tired and wants to give up. So when he was at that club, he wasn't making leeway. So she comes to back him up. Their dynamic changes after that point. I'm not going to try to get you to like a movie that I like, but I see a lot of value in it. And that character, his daughter, and their evolution worked really well for me. So I enjoyed it. I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. I'd like you guys to check out exactly why I liked it. So, See you to everybody. Some people didn't. You know what? Hey, it's good for what it is. But everybody, listen to Jason Evangelista. Go back, Wokebusters. There's only 10 days left. Next Sunday is the last day for it. So, folks, we can make anything happen. But I'll be back next time with more. In the meantime, be smart, be safe, be cool, but always be excellent to each other. And now we're going to end with a fun button. What are we going to end with? Well, maybe this one.
Which reminds me, I have something here for you. Your father wanted you to have this when you were old enough.